Makeup.
What's up?
Hey.
Hey, a little more rouge. Oh, I'm sorry. We on? Are we live?
I'm glad they ran off just in time, and we are live. Welcome to Stop the FOMO, and we are here, me, FOMO, with our guest Brian of Brian's Tech Therapy. Today, we're going to wrap up the year, and I know Brian's doing scorecards for each brand, and I think that's so amazing. I'm like, I'm so lazy, Brian. I don't think I could do it like 4 or 5 videos. Why don't I do one giant roundup? And instead of a scorecard, it's more of a relative ranking of each model within a TV brand that I think is a good value because it blends in and segues perfectly with the holiday buying season, Black Friday, whatever it is. Today, we're going to go over that buying strategy because we're beginning to see huge price drops. And you know that Getty, he got his 100-inch HiSense U8K for $5,000, and in less than a week, he had a price adjustment to $4,000, and then just yesterday it dropped again to $3,500. He got another price adjustment. At the rate he's going, he's making money back.
He's like, yeah, I know. He's a stock market.
I know, it's so great.
And
And speaking of, the gang is here, so let's say hello to everyone. Lisa is here, Jeff, Brad, Nigel, hey, Michael, and we're doing an audio check as well. David Whelan, hey David, what TV did you end up buying, my friend? And of course, Getty, we know he's waiting. His 100-inch is coming on Monday. And Lisa, I just love saying her name. It's like great. Jason's here. Hey, Omar. Leo, of course, and Brad, the guitar man. Oh, we have a great crowd today. Thank you for coming, everyone. And of course, hey, AJ, if you have any questions, you're on the fence about getting a TV, or you don't know why you should get a certain TV, this is the stream to ask questions, and we're going to go over it. And so we have Brian only for 2 precious hours. We're going to make the most of it with all your amazing questions as well as Brian's amazing comments. And we both got our makeup on. We're going to jump right into it. And if you have any questions, just throw it in. If I miss it, keep on asking. Eventually, we'll get there. Oh, look at this. Okay, so before I jump into the chart and explain what we're doing with this chart, right? What I love is now that the chart is live, we can talk about it. I can make corrections, and we can even double check the price because maybe most of you are not too shocked, but sometimes literally Best Buy is changing their prices as we speak because there were a couple of price changes I did not expect in the last 24 hours as a result of 2 things. One, Hisense killing it with their price drops, and Samsung is easily the only brand that's responding to Hisense. I'm seeing this, I'm like, wow, Samsung, you are paying attention. So I love it. So let me see if there's any questions. But Brian, what are your thoughts on this year's buying season so far? Are you surprised by the prices? What are your thoughts?
Well, for you guys that don't know, there's actually a manufacturer's roadmap that these retailers cannot deviate from. So everything that you see is actually from the manufacturer. So if Best Buy is dropping their price, they're following a specific roadmap. So we always think, oh, it's cheaper at Costco. Not necessarily. They actually are not allowed to sell if they're an authorized dealer, which is why we tell you guys, if you're going to buy off a website FOMO of some really, really low price, you're then forfeiting the warranty of the manufacturer. That's not an authorized seller. Right, so you can take these price. Yeah, which is why when you hear, hey, this person will match this, they'll match that, it's simply because maybe they weren't quick enough changing them, FOMO. So to your point, what it shows is the manufacturers are being very nimble and they're doing things on the fly. And it's amazing watching the gamesmanship, FOMO. You see Hisense being first out of the box. That 100-inch is a bargain at $5K. For it to drop that much, now you're into like average LED prices in a way. And I think it's something you just can't beat, man. Unbelievable.
Yep. I could not agree more. And let me adjust my visuals so I can see you all. And now, this is a great question. Before we jump in, so Mwolde asks, is the A90J in your spreadsheet? And this goes to how I'm setting the spreadsheet up. Thank you for that segue, Mr. Wolde. Specifically, this spreadsheet is only 2023 models, and for many reasons. One, A90J is now, a 2021, 2020 model? For sure, It is not available everywhere, and the prices are all over the place. And also, it's still too expensive for what it is. I have answered this question oftentimes on Twitter and on a lot of these streams, which is, oh, the A90J is now the same price as the A80L. Should I get it? You are now 2 generations behind in terms of processing. And the A80L, surprise, surprise, has a heatsink like the A90J, and it's brighter. And it has the XR clear, and its audio, I hate to say it, is easily a match or better. Other than the quote-unquote Master Series moniker, there is no additional warranty. Unlike the G1, G2, G3, where you get the 5-year panel replacement warranty, you're not getting that with the A90J, right? So there is absolutely no reason to get the A90J when the A80L is available. And I think Rob Brennan, in your discussions with him, he agreed that the latest Sony's, the image quality for the same panel technology, right? They're both WOLED. The latest Sony is a better TV, right? So what would you
Yeah.
recommend? Like A90J at a discount or A80L Black Friday?
So I understand you guys, and I know a lot of you have been asking me recently about the Z9K FOMO. That always comes up. Even the Z9J is there is a prestige with the Master Series, and if you're somebody that owns a Master Series, you're very proud of it. And I think a lot of us, especially FOMO with the A90J, we saw this with the A9G. You've admired that TV for 2 years, and maybe it was out of your reach, and then all of a sudden it's there, and you're like, wait a minute. It's almost like having the want for somebody that's just not the love for somebody who's not there anymore, right? You can't go back. You're paying for the C2 caught up to the A90J. We saw that in person. The A80K surpassed the A90J in a way. The A80L is kind of well beyond that with the XR Clear. Now, I'm careful saying that because if you have the A90J, you're like, wait a second. No, it's a fact. But it doesn't make your TV less. But keep in mind, going back and buying something from a couple of years ago, it's just diminishing returns. And like you said with Sony, these are not backwards compatible updates in terms of processing. It's a different processor. You're
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to be behind.
Yeah.
The Z9K, as I see Terry jump in, the Z9K is considered a current TV, even though there is a Z9L in Japan. I imagine that TV is not much different, FOMO. I would almost guarantee it doesn't have XR Clear, the Z9L.
And with that kickoff, let's get into this question because I think this question goes to our first brand, Sony, because we all want to talk about Sony this year. And so I'm going to hit it off with the Sony TVs and its relative position per model with the rest of the TV world, the TV lineup within its own brand and within the context of the other brands and models. So Derek asks, FOMO, 65-inch S90C and X93L are the same. Which is the best TV overall non-gaming? So this goes to my chart. I set up the prices all 65 inches unless I say otherwise. So for example, on this Sony 85 X95L, it's 4200, but it's for the 85 inch. So I will tell you when it's not a 65 inch. And so you're saying, okay, X93L 65 inch. In this case, it's $15.99 currently in most places, Best Buy and so forth. Already you notice I don't have a green highlight. The green highlight tells you this is a very good price relative to what's out there. I'm not saying it's cheap, I'm not saying it's affordable, but I'm saying compared to the competition, you're getting the most bang for the buck at this price, and we'll get into detail what that means. But in this case, the X93L at 65 inches is $15.99. The S90C, if we go down there, let's see here, S90C 65 inch is $13.99. So first of all, this $13.99, it depends where you get it. At Best Buy, it's not $13.99 yet, and I'll tell you why yet, right? So as we go to Best Buy, S90C, 65, what you're going to notice is a few things, right? First, right here, you click on it. Best Buy has a little trick. It says $15.99, but this, oh, I'm blocking, sorry. $15.99, but this price is not its best price. It's not the Black Friday price. Its best price would be something like this. Let's say X90L, right? If you want to know if this is Best Buy's lowest price of the season, you have to look for this little label. It says Black Friday deal right here. If it says Black Friday deal, it is unlikely to
That's
get much lower, maybe $50, but it's very close to its best price. So
the
the
bottom.
Samsung at $1599, although it's a match for the X93L, it's not quite its best price. Now let's look at the X93L. Is that its best price? So let's see here. So this is like I'm teaching you guys on the fly how to shop and look for these prices. And the best part is you buy at Best Buy, since you have a return period until January 12th, 13th, something like that, that means that you get a price adjustment. So even though it's not its best price today, but you plan to hold on to
Yeah.
it, let's see the X93L 65 inch, this is its best price. So $1599, unlikely to get lower.
Yep.
S90C, likely to get lower. And if you are a AAA member, go to the AAA. I'll put the link below. So check the link below if you're watching this. But if you're a member, click on the Samsung site, click on the price, click on the membership, and then you ask, and I was telling Brian this, you got to ask nicely, hey, I've been a Samsung fan my whole life. I got Samsung devices. Look at my Ultra. Look at my S23, whatever it is, right? And you say, can you give me that discount you're giving everyone? And then just make up a number, right? It's like, oh, it's $15.99 on this website. I
It's a
heard you can get
FOMO.
it for me at $12.99. And they're like, $12.99? Okay, you know what? I can do $13.99. I don't know where you're getting this $12.99 number. And then you just take what they can offer. And then, this is what people forget, you beg for the extended warranty. Oh, can I get an extended warranty? Please, I'm going to hold on to this TV forever, right? And then, learn a couple Korean phrases. And then suddenly, you got an extended warranty. You got the best deal. Brian, did you know that's the case?
Did you remember it was a 40-year-old version when Kevin Hart is like, I'm gonna need that extended warranty for the price of about on the house. Yeah, dude, it's very smart, but I think you said it best too, FOMO. The safe time to buy is now simply because you're going to be covered for a price adjustment. So
Mm-hmm.
waiting, and we talked about this in the live stream. The inventory that you think is there is not there. So people had alluded that the S90C at Costco is now sold out on the website. They will not be replenishing that. So if you're on the fence, it's safe to buy. And if you want to save a couple $100, like Getty, you'll be covered in the return window.
Yeah.
Depending where you buy it, some places have a 10-day return window. I think Target's 15. But if you're a premium guy at Best Buy, it's a month. Costco is 3 months. So yours are covered. It's safe to buy. So right now, I would say look at the chart and make your choice.
And here is Getty, who's taking full advantage of these price adjustments, right? So next week, who knows? Maybe I'm down another $500, right? Because start at 5,000, got a price adjustment to 4, got another one at 3,500, and if HiSense keeps it at this rate, and they're selling the TV at 3,000 by January 1st, Getty can give Best Buy a call and say, hey, look, guys, I just bought it, whatever, it's within the return period, give me that price adjustment. So please do not forget, use that
Yeah.
price adjustment feature.
Well, my TV is being delivered Monday afternoon.
Wait.
So
Your TV, is this your gaming TV for your
my TV.
replacement? You're replacing U7K. Are you ready to share that yet? Or
No, hell no. We're gonna do that one live, baby. So next week we'll have a live. I mean, I'll have a video on it, but we'll do it live and we'll discuss why I chose it. But I think you guys will find it very interesting why I chose what I chose.
well, the people have voted, predicting what you're going to get. So let me pull up that poll real quick, because I asked the group, help Brian choose the TV to get. Big TV for gaming. What TV should he choose? And so this is their response, right? So let me pull this in real quick here.
I'm gonna guess they're thinking I'm getting an E95L.
Well, let's see. So here are the
I guess
selection, right?
because you
For
you played
gaming
that
at an
soundbite.
extra
That's why.
large. Gaming at an extra large. What TV should Brian get? Help a brother out. So the number one vote is 77-inch Sony A95L. And this is because we remember what you said at the shootout. At the end, you're like,
Yeah, you
oh
played
man,
it.
I was going to get that Q95C, but after seeing everything,
Yeah.
I got to get the A95L. And then, it was OLED. And then you saw the 100-inch. Wait, this has got Dolby Vision gaming and 4K 120 VRR. And now it's down to 3,500. Of course, the Q95C, that's always been the top of your list. That's why I included in there as
Yep.
the large TV gaming TV to get. And then the 83-inch AED-L. Turns out it has a heat sink, so, but it's WOLED. Maybe it doesn't have that vibrancy of the A95L. And
Yeah.
so you've seen these TVs, except for the 100-inch U8K. Is it coming to Valley Electronics for you to assess?
Oh no, it's coming straight here.
Ah, that'd be great. So
It'll
anyway,
be straight here. So there's no. I got the delivery call today. So the
it's
window
coming.
of, hey, it'll be between 9 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. Be around. So, but I think you guys will love the decision making and how I came to my conclusion, which I think is so different or the same as you guys. And I think that's the way to really look at it. And when you're making your choices, guys, I mean, we did that video, resentment. We did the one about your environment. Very, very important. Other than price, I think price should be your biggest determining factor.
Right. Yeah, yes.
Hi,
And that's another
Lisa.
thing is, buy within your budget for sure.
Yeah, that's important. You're like, I'm homeless now, but I have a TV with me.
Your love nest, is that what we're calling it now? Brian?
Yeah, I told my wife. She's like, so you just get on YouTube for me to defend me? She goes, I'm not messing with that YouTube crap. I'm like, okay, well they think that we're divorced.
This is a great comment by Renee Sonse. If you get a Samsung with a AAA discount, does it come from Best Buy and does the price adjustment policy apply? So this is a great question because it's very confusing. First of all, if you buy on the Samsung website with a AAA a discount, it is 100% through Samsung. However, sometimes they will work with Best Buy for you to pick it up locally at a Best Buy. So they're using Best Buy as their distribution center. And so you're thinking, wait, did I buy it from Samsung or Best Buy? You bought it at Samsung, but you selected local pickup at Best Buy because you don't trust the carriers, frankly, right, Brian? A lot of people got the S95B last year and even the S90C. There was bent panels because they felt like the carrier didn't take care of their TV. So if you have a large minivan truck or it'll fit your SUV, I suggest picking it up locally if that's offered. And the S90C 77-inch, more often than not, they offered local pickup at your local Best Buy. But Best Buy does not
Yeah,
stand behind it. All they're
yeah,
doing is giving you the TV you ordered, nothing more. So you can check it out,
yeah,
take it home. But everything goes through Samsung.com. Now, when you
yeah.
buy it through AAA Samsung, AAA membership, with or without the membership actually, always ask in chat for that extended warranty because more often than not, it doesn't matter if you're a AAA member, they'll still give it to you, especially during this Black Friday, because this is why they give it to you so freely. One, most people don't remember they have an extended warranty. Two, they were planning to replace the TV and they're thinking, oh, I'm going to get a new TV, and they didn't want an old TV returned to them. So, they're not even thinking extended warranty. It's not in the front of their mind. And so they're giving it out because they look at the warranty claims and it's so low. It's worth it as a loss leader. So definitely remember you got the extended warranty and ask for it. And sometimes it's 2 years. Some people got lucky and got 4 years. A lot of S90C buyers, because I'm checking my comments and I'm checking the order list, and I noticed that they're getting it. Some got it at 1900, not 1999. They got another $100 off, and they told me it's because, well, I showed them all of my Samsung devices. I'm so excited to be in the Samsung family. And Chuck guy's like, all right, you're legit. Here's another $100 off, and I'll throw in an extended warranty.
Damn.
So
When
it's
when you say
still
AAA,
available.
with
And
AAA, I
yeah,
want
for
them to drop.
AAA, you're gonna be a AAA member. If you're not, I think you still may get something, but I don't know. It's gonna be as low as a AAA membership. So if you have the
So what
AAA,
I
and for those of you who don't know, first of all, the AAA membership is cheaper than the savings. So just join for a brief period so you can get that
heck yeah,
AAA membership. It's the Automobile Association of America, right? AAA. I have it because none of my cars have a spare tire anymore. So you have AAA, you just call them, they come by, and then they tow you, and that's it. No more spare tires. It's just AAA membership now for me.
so
But
what I
yeah,
want is I want them to drop off my TV in a AAA tow truck, and then I want the dude that fixes my tires to put the stand together with the jack. One of the
hey,
guys in the chat said, he goes, "Hey, they assembled my S90C on its face," which
ah,
I know in the videos you guys don't see that. Typically, TVs when they're assembled, they do put them on their face on a box that's protected, and then they put the stands on. The stands typically go on what we would see is backwards. They can't put it on its back because the stand doesn't fit on that way. That's why you see them put
Right.
it on its face. But it is very disconcerting if you see it for the first time.
And there's
So
some pretty good
Paulie,
questions. Go ahead.
go ahead. No, I'm saying
No,
so my
I
boy
was going to
Paulie in the chat.
say, uh, did you know if do you know if the A80L is a semi-gloss or glossy panel? Because that may also affect the A75L, assuming it's the same panel coating. Do you know if Rob
I do
or
not.
they've confirmed it? Because I don't
I
know.
know.
So,
I think they're all glossy this year. I think
okay.
all,
And
all
another
the sides.
question here is Star Rider says, I need to find out which ATSC 3.0 next gen TVs have issues decoding DR encrypted channels over the air. TV brands including Sony, LG, and HiSense. Easy way before buying Star Rider. It is such a mess, this ATSC 3.0 thing.
Yeah.
All I can say is this. First, next year LG doesn't even have ATSC 3.0 because patent violations, right? So that's out. As far as DRM, I don't even know if the TV makers thought of that. It may be up to the chip that they bought. Maybe the chip has to do it. Maybe they have to get a firmware. I honestly don't know. And for that reason, the ATSC equipment being used by the broadcasters, they may not even know to toggle it on or off. Maybe they should have left it off, they turned it on, screws everybody up. Maybe they should have turned it on and they left it off and everyone's happy. It is so early in the game, I honestly don't know. So right now, Star Rider, do not buy a TV for ATSC 3.0 just because we are so much
Yeah.
in the wild west of the rollout. The broadcasters are not on the same page as the ATSC 3.0
No.
equipment makers and the TV makers. I mean, I'd say this is like the early days of HDR with Dolby Vision back in 2016. It is so early. Don't be surprised if you're disappointed. If you get a TV
Yeah.
today with ATSC 3.0 and in 3 years, it's still not usable. That's just
What's
how it
interesting
is.
is we heard this at CES where a couple people said to us that chances are they're going to have an adapter for it anyway. There'll be an ATSC adapter, so you'll have the TV, and then someone will say, "Oh, I just bought the adapter like a Fire Stick," and it'll just work that way. So that's not something I would definitely chase.
I have to laugh. Brad Guitar's like, no, being in AA is not enough, right? Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm like, you know what? What a great way to avoid alcoholism is to watch more TV. You know what, Brad? Maybe Samsung should work with AA, right?
Yeah, just walk
No,
into
that's.
a Best Buy and say, "Hey, I'm Brad. I have a problem. I need a
I have a
TV."
problem. I can't stop
I'm in
buying
AA.
TVs.
Yeah.
And Matt, I
We'll
see your
sit in a
super
circle
chat.
together.
Okay, so let's see. It's 2:15. So we have another 90 minutes with you. We will get through all of this. We're starting with Sony and we're going to get to Brad's super chat because he is talking about Sony's or Matt's super chat. Sorry, Matt. With no Z9L, should I buy Z9K or will next year be brighter? I enjoy watching movies. Okay, so this whole brighter, this has a lot to unpack for me. First, the improvement to the Z9K, if there is a Z9L, right? Brian and I, we don't know if there is, but if there is, it will be with XR clear, better upscaling, better blooming control, and most importantly, the image processing that relates to tone mapping must be improved. So, I recommend you wait until the next 8K TV. It could end up being a Z9K identical with XR clear and updated tone mapping, and this is why. The Z9K, 2 years in a row now, the firmware did not fix this. So last year, Z9K was there. This year, it's there. After 12 months, the firmware updates did not help the Z9K's bad tone mapping above 1,000 nits. Anything below 1,000 nits looks phenomenal. Great. But above 1,000, clip to hell. 2,000 nit content looks terrible. So this goes to the brightness. What's the point of watching super bright content if the Z9K cannot tone map it, right? Now, if it's Dolby Vision, that's fine. It'll tone map it down, but then it takes Dolby Vision down to 1,000 nits. So people are like, oh, Dolby Vision, 4,000, 10,000 nits, 12-bit processing. No. The Z9K, for what it is, up to 1,000 nits is great, but its brightness strength is in the APL. The entire TV gets a little bit brighter than everyone else, but its specular highlights are not brighter. It cannot. Any brighter and it clips. We've tested it at the shootout 2 years in a row now, and Sony knows this. I spoke to Sony like, you know what? It is what it is, right? And a lot of Sony TVs are tone mapping up to about 2,000 nits at best, which is fair, which is fair because streaming content is not going to exceed 1,000 nits. Most of your movies off a Blu-ray disc, off of anything, rarely exceed 1,000 nits with a handful, right? We're talking Mad Max, maybe Aquaman, right? Maybe Pan. There are a few movies, less than 10, The Meg, Part 1 and Part 2, that will exceed 2,000 nits. So on the Z9K, they won't look great. They'll be clipped. You'll have to get it in Dolby Vision, and it'll be brought down. So back to the Z9L. It would benefit greatly from XR Clear. Better tone mapping, better dimming control, less blooming. And that's why you should wait till next year. Now, if you only watch sports and you want the brightest sports possible, get the Z9K. Not a big difference. But gaming, I think, would be better on the Z9L as well. Because I suspect, I mean, this is my speculation, for a flagship, I better have a Pentonic chip. The 8K Pentonic with gaming features, right, Brian? I mean, what are your expectations, if any, for an updated Z9K?
So the Z9L is in Japan. I'm guessing it's just a Z9K. I don't think they have the XR Clear even on it. I can't confirm that. I think it's just carried over. So what I would say with the Z9K, it's one of my favorite LEDs, but the X95L has showed you Sony's direction. They don't care about brightness. They're not going to chase that anymore. I think after the A95L, they're done saying this is brighter, that's brighter. They're going to just keep refining. And the X95 is not even as bright as the X93 in some ways. They're all about giving you the best image. So I would say choose the TV you think has the best processing, even in the LED, but don't chase the peak brightness anymore because it doesn't even matter. I think they're done. Going for a 4,000 nits on a Z9G foam with Eclipse, you're just flexing a white pattern that isn't going to help you in content. So I think they're done doing that. So, and we know Samsung, I think if anyone wants to go there, it's going to be TCL.
Agreed.
You want a bright
that's
TV,
what TCL, strangely enough, TCL has the best tone mapping of high nit content of all my TVs. They did it as well as the G3, which is shocking. HiSense above 1,500 nits also clipped. Sony clips on everything above 1,500 nits. The TCL does very well above 2,000 nits. But again, what are you watching all day, right? Spears and Munsell. So, but it's just something that I would have to praise TCL on paying attention. They paid attention to something, but I think that's such a small performance spec that a lot of people won't realize how good that is unless they're watching something at 4,000 nits. And so getting through Sony real quick. Now, you notice $14.99 A75L. I chose that as my value TV among all the Sonys, even better than A80L, because for that $200 difference, all you're losing is the built-in microphone on the TV and stand options, right? I guess on the A80L, your stand can be lifted and put in different widths or whatever. And the audio.
Wide, narrow, and up. This is just wide. Like an
and
X90.
the A80L, if you don't plan to get a sound bar, then pay a couple $100 more. You get the A80L audio is better. If you plan to get a sound bar anyway, then get the A75L. Save some money, put it towards the sound bar. Better package, image quality is identical, same processor, same panel. So the A75L is what I like because it strips out everything. And I think LG needs to do this. They need to give me a stripped out C3 or C4, right? I don't care about the audio. I just want a good gaming processor, a good panel, nothing else. And like the G3 and G2 were missing stands. I go, wait a minute, shouldn't the missing stand be in the C3? Because that's where I'm saving the money. So LG needs to figure out where its priorities are when it's pricing. But so within this list, among the OLEDs, I think this one is pretty good because, and this is why it gets the bright highlight. The XR Clear cleans up streaming, cable, sports so well. And it comes in an 65 and 55 inch, sorry. It only comes in 55 and 65 inch. If you need to go 83 or 77, you do have to go to the A80L. But it does clean up streaming content and cable sources, which a lot of people still have. This is the choice for me if that's your source. And of course, if you're afraid of burn-in or you don't have the budget, then within the Sony list, the X90L is my other value selection. $999, that's my target. Why? If you go check on Best Buy now, you're going to say, oh, it's still like $1,100, $1,200, but that's not its Black Friday deal yet, which means there's at least another $100 to go. on Best Buy or on other sites. So these are the two that I think are great deals. Now, the other TVs like X93L, 4200, I already know by next year it'll be 3000. I don't like it when it's going to drop another 1000 the following year. A95L is a flagship. It just released. It's not, no, I put 3299. And many of you are saying, wait, I see it at 3500. Value Electronics, authorized dealer. If you buy it from Robert Zone, he gives you 5% credit towards anything in the store. So apply to the extended warranty is always my recommendation. Plus, if you're outside the state of New York, he'll pay the sales tax. Together, that drops it to below $32.99. So this is one reason why I recommend Robert, because he's able to do those deals. And of course, he'll price match anyone. So that's something to
Yep.
think about as well. Now, among the Sony models, what's your favorite, Brian?
So A80L and A75, I'll say what I like about the A75, and this is where I think you were going with Sony, or I'm sorry, with LG. LG C series, once it gets lower, it's just basically a C2. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing that separates them. What I like about the A75 is it's saying, hey, look, we still have XR Clear on it. And even the reduced audio, it still works in their ecosystem. So if you wanted to buy it, its audio is not quite as good, but it still would work
Mm-hmm.
with an HTA9 or a soundbar. So all you're really losing is a little bit less audio. The build quality is not quite as good because you have the different stand options, but you don't lose anything in terms of picture quality. The X90L is an entry full array local dimming. It's not really a mini LED. So to me, the A75 is the best bang for the buck because then you get you get the contrast ratio, the micro contrast with XR, and
Yes.
you can't beat that. There's no 60 hertz panel. Like, I remember the B series would be 60 or whatever. There's none of that nonsense. So to me, like you said in our video, they really do fill all the gaps. But I would definitely look at the A75. And the X90, I think, is very good. As you've mentioned, it's affordable now. I think when it
Yeah.
launched, the 65 was very expensive.
And for those of you who can wait, so this is its first year of release. It's a 2023 model. We're still in 2023. Sony's best discounts are always the following year. Unlike Samsung,
Yes,
where in the same year, you're still going to get the best discount, right? Sony,
especially
if you wait
8K.
until Prime, yeah, wait until Prime Day, this A75L is going to drop to probably $11.99 or less. So if it's something that you can wait, your TV isn't broken, and you are eyeing either the A80L or A75L, definitely wait until I'd say early summer next year. You're going to get a big chunk off of these prices right now. Now, we have a super chat. Thank you, Melvin Rhodes. TCL 98 inch S5 versus the XL, which was last year's 98 inch, coming from a 65 inch Panasonic Plasma. I can be happy with either. Okay, so, and I actually spoke to Brandon, be the installer. He's seen both. And let's go down to TCL. The S5 98 inch is 3500. However, if it's the same price, the XL is actually higher quality, better image quality. Brandon really likes the XL. So when they're the same price, get the XL. It's actually built slightly better because last year it was designed to be sold as a $9,000 TV. So at 9,000, they tried to make it a little bit better, a little bit better audio, just this and that. It's just a better TV from last year, fully discounted to this year, whereas the S5 is built to a budget. 3,500 is where the S5 was designed, engineered to cost.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. So definitely, if they're the same price, both your image quality and I think the durability overall, parts used, the XL should be the better TV. Or if you have access to the U8K, 3,500 as well, 100 inch, it's got mini LED. But if you're used to TCL, get the TCL. But either way, because it's such a large TV, I recommend getting an extended warranty if you are where they offer it. It's just 100 inches or 90 is so large. I don't want, if you get at Best Buy and you're on Geek Squad coverage, whether you're a total member or the extended warranty, they will come to your house for any TV larger than a 65 inch. They will lift it off the wall and take it with them. You don't have to do it yourself. And that alone for me is worth it. So yeah,
Well,
hopefully that answers your question.
Melvin though,
Mm-hmm.
Melvin, honestly, that's a huge jump in size, my friend. And that's and I'm not I don't want to rain on your parade though, but you're going from a plasma at 65 inches to a budget 98 inch. So you need to go with one with local dimming. The S5 is not an option for you. you have to find something with decent blacks because you have a plasma, my friend. If you love plasma, we always recommend OLED after. But to go from a 65-inch to a 98-inch is a massive jump in size. That image may look really bad and soft to you. So please make sure you're further back because you're going to be very disappointed coming from infinite contrast to a budget, not larger TV.
And this
That's a
segues
big jump.
into W's super chat. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Had my A90J side by side with my 77-inch S90C. Near identical and accurate modes. No processing advantage at all. If anything, the Samsung was sharper, more detailed. And this is why Brian and I were telling you that go with the latest TV. Because
Yeah.
every TV, from TCL to HiSense to Samsung, Sony, after 2 years, they all catch up in processing and everything. So
Yeah.
as good as the A90J was, it was the king of TVs, 2020?
Oh, yeah.
Now we're in 2023. The S90C, a better TV because QD OLED, it's got its own advantages. And this year, its upscaling and its image processing still falls short of the G3 and the A95L and the A80L. And yet,
Yeah.
it still looks better than the A90J.
Yeah.
So if you have an
So,
A90J,
yeah,
don't
that,
beat yourself up. Hold on to it. But if you're shopping now, yeah. And what do you
yeah.
think about W's comment? Do you agree with him?
But I love that because what you're saying is an A90J Master Series, an S90C has caught up to it. So that gives praise to the A90J, but also the S90C is behind the G3 and the new current Sony TVs. So it shows you how they catch up and surpass. We knew that LG caught Sony last year, at least and now they're further behind again. So that's where Sony's really honing it. And that's where you want to spend your money. It's a QD OLED. In certain content, it will look different than the A90J, especially if you get out of those accurate modes. But yes, most accurate is not the S90C's strength, though. Try putting that in a less accurate mode, and you'll see it pull away.
Okay, so I need to make this correction. I don't know what happened here. And so hopefully this comment helps people to look at Samsung more seriously, because if you can't beat them with image quality, you beat them with price. And Getty, double check. He's saying to me, Samsung's website Black Friday deal, 83-inch S90C is $1,900. Okay. I have it at $33.99, and that is being aggressive. But if you guys are in the market for an 83-inch and you're okay with just whatever because you're watching sports and this is your first OLED, get it. Call them and tell them, look, I know you guys are selling this at $1,900. I am a loyal. Look, I got Samsung socks. I got Samsung. Wear your Samsung cap. Flash
But the
your
funny thing is,
5-year-old Samsung.
what the problem with the S90C is we have no idea what it is. We know it's a WOLED, but we
That's
have
all
no
we know.
idea if it's. We might find that it's only got two HDMI 2.1s. We don't know what it's. We have no idea.
You don't even know if you can
Nobody
game,
I know has
right?
even seen it. It might not even have a game bar, so it's really being thrown on the
So
market.
here's the gamble. This 1900 price is always limited inventory. So anytime you guys see a deal, it's almost always a flash deal. If it's too good to be true, it's true. If you order it, they ship it. It's done. The question is, when it's a gamble, and this is probably why it's so inexpensive. Watch, Getty's going to come back. Oops, I meant to say 2,900.
Yeah.
But even
Yeah.
2,900 is a great deal, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
This is what I believe. Okay, and this is my response, which is OLED innately, even one that has average processing, is going to look better than a non-OLED TV at this size.
Yeah.
So at 85 inches, there is no mini LED TV that's $2,000 or less other than the U8K or the QM8 or the X90L. All three of these TVs are just under 2,000. I take an OLED over all of them because the sharpness from the infinite contrast makes up the difference. Now, Samsung has average, slightly above average motion processing, but that's better than HiSense or TCL. Sony X90L should have better motion, but it doesn't have infinite contrast. XR Clear could only do so much, guys. So I mean, it's not
Can't
a
add zones.
panacea. it's
not magic.
Micro LED, right? So
We have this new processor. It's called Magic.
yeah, that's just crazy.
Oh, real quick, the A75L is a
Yes.
limited run. So I couldn't even
Yes,
get
the
a review spot.
AC95L, they got leftover panels. They're putting
So
it together, selling it
yeah, so
inexpensively.
it won't be there next year. I promise you. Because even I
And
talked to a
that's
couple.
why get it in 20. The minute it becomes 2024, you're going to see prices drop. And
Yeah,
yeah,
if they have them.
so within
But
the
if you really want it,
Samsung
it's worth it.
and Gmail, I wanted to ask: is TV motion better now compared to 2 years ago? Generally speaking, across the board, I'd say TCL and HiSense, it takes them every 2 years to have that improvement, right? So HiSense had that red ghosting that was an issue for them for several years. I
Yep.
think they finally fixed it
It was
this year. I didn't
purple, right?
notice
Was
it.
it purplish,
It
purple
was
in
purple,
gaming or
reddish.
something?
Yeah, it's a magenta ghosting. It's kind of weird, especially in gaming for a lot of people. And so this year they addressed that. TCL's motion continues to err towards too much soap opera. So if you're okay with soap opera, TCL is fine. I'm okay with a touch of soap, and the TCL just barely passes that threshold. But any more
Yeah.
soap opera, but for many people, that's just too much. So TCL is off the list. TCL probably has the worst soap opera to judder ratio, meaning they cannot quite eliminate soap opera and eliminate stutter at the same time. Hisense does a better job. So for those who are motion sensitive and they can't debate between TCL or Hisense, I say go with the Hisense. Yes, TCL has better contrast for the same price, but motion is more distracting than the contrast.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it side
I
by
like how
side, you'll love, right? So
I
it's
like
always
how
about which is the
TCL is the
worst.
new TCL's the new Samsung. See, TCL.
Vibrant,
I think
not
somebody.
crushing,
I,
boom.
I think somebody at TCL either had a Q9FN and they're like, "Yo, I'd love this TV. We're gonna make all of them." So I love where they're going, and I want them to just keep going that way. But to your point, certain features are not something you can disable. And when I think about poor motion, people will say, "Well, what do you want with motion? Do you want better?" Some people love soap opera effect. So if there's
Mhm.
if say like for instance, if you're somebody who has a TV that has soap opera effect and they max it, if they see artifacting and soap opera effect, then they think a TV has poor motion. Well, some TVs don't need it at all. So it all depends on what you think the motion, what you want it to be. You want it to be natural, or do you want it to be like General Hospital? If you want it to be like that, then certain TVs are better at that than others.
Wait, we have a correction. Don's like, no, no, no. Don't jump and kill yourself
Oh,
begging for the
Getty
price.
G, man, come on, baby!
It turns out
It's going to
it's
be
only
conspiracy
$1,900
channel.
savings. It's not the price. But you know what? Getty's going to call him and demand 1900 anyway. Maybe he'll get it. Maybe he'll confuse
Yeah,
the chat rep. What? It is? All right, here you
even though
go.
you're
And then he gets
yeah,
fired,
seriously,
right? Remember
like damn.
Amazon a few times to put the wrong price up, they still honor it, right? It's like they forgot the decimal point.
Yeah,
It's like a
so
$2,000 TV was $200, and they sold a couple of those. So it happens. It
go ahead.
happens. But thank you for that correction, Don. And so back to Samsung. So here we are. This is my choice for Samsung's best value. So we'll go from top to bottom, right? So the S95C, I do like it overall. However, because One Connect box demands such a premium, and it's not just the S95C, it's the any TV with a One Connect box is always going to be so much more expensive because it does cost a lot to separate the two parts, right? The I/O in one box, that cable and the TV the other, and that convenience, man, it's like a 20%, 25% price premium. To me, not worth it. Now, if it's worth it, it's because, designers, you're putting your house in a
Yeah,
certain way. It's not image quality anymore. It's the One Connect box. So for those of you buying the best TV for image quality, don't get the S95C. Get the S90C, 77-inch, 1999 at the Samsung website, AAA, we talked about it. Right now, I know it's like $24.99 at Best Buy, but even then, it's not the Black Friday special pricing yet. So let's see, Samsung
well, Fumbo,
S90Cs.
also the One Connect box is really a whole separate component.
Yeah,
Just in plastic costs another $100 because it really feels like a little PlayStation almost. The stand is different. It's all different. I don't
yeah.
like it
See,
because
so
there's another way for it to fail.
there is definitely room for it to drop in price. As you can see, it's
Yep.
still $24.99, but it's not Black Friday pricing. So I predict Best Buy's Black Friday is probably more like $22.99, not quite $2,000, but it will get there. And if you get it now, again, you will get a price adjustment by January 13, 12 to 13 is the return period,
Yep.
extended holiday returns. So go ahead. if you plan to get this TV anyway, get it now. If it ever goes down between now and January 10th, 12th, 13th, something like that, call Best Buy. They'll give you the price adjustment, no problem. I like it because if you're a Best Buy Total member, they will install it, mount it for free. So here we go. Oh, extended return period through January 13th. It says it right here. So,
Nice.
yeah.
It's funny. Where is
So
the S90 cannibalizing their other value TVs from?
it
You
is.
start to see
Look
that.
at what it's doing to the rest of their line. I mean, you bring up a good point. So the 77-inch. Now everything else is 65 inches. Well, except for the 83 inches, 3399. But look,
Yeah.
it's why would you
Yeah.
get the S89C, Brian? W OLED, right? This is very similar to the 83
What
inch
the hell's the
S90C, right?
S89C?
It's their
They
W
just
OLED. It's
they
2100.
rounded
Like,
it
look,
rounded up.
and I'm just thinking, who in their right mind? And you know, and this is the part that upsets me. Samsung is selling two TVs, both OLED, for the same size. This one is so clearly a better TV in so many ways. Not to mention, this is Samsung's first, the S9C, first W OLED attempt. So who knows what it's going
Lazy.
to be like,
It's so
right?
lazy.
And so my only comment is, this is not special unless it's under 1700. I mean, unless it's really inexpensive, and this is it, right? Call
Yeah.
Samsung and say, look, I know the 77-inch is crap. FOMO said so. You got to sell it to me for $1,700.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
but who the
I'm
hell?
just going to get
Who
your
in
cutie
marketing
OLED.
though? Who the hell in marketing is like, it's a 90C, 89. Make it an 89. Okay.
And okay, so
It's
that's
so
the other
lazy.
insult. 89 is less than 90. So it's
Make
a
it a
lower
91.
number, and it costs
Yeah, man.
more. It's like,
89.
oh. And
But I
of
guess
course,
my
for
question,
those,
the reason,
yeah, I don't
well,
know,
the
it's
reason why I
maddening.
think so why I think it's interesting is that you and I were talking about this when we review the report card for Samsung. Is typically you have your 85, you have your 90, your 85, your 95, and then the 7s and the 6s are the really affordable TVs. We haven't paid attention to those in the last couple of years because the quality drops way down. Now the S90C makes it where those aren't even on our radar. We don't even talk about those anymore. The Q7s or the Q6s, they still make those?
Well, let's talk about it. It's on my list, right? So the top section are my W or my OLEDs, right? So this is the best value. If you are in this price range and you can fit a 77-inch, no, and this applies to all OLEDs, by the way, whether it's a Sony, LG. $19.99 for a 77-inch is the recommended price for a really good OLED. I mean, it's so hard to compete with this price. And so even at the smaller sizes, it's not as price competitive, but it's still a pretty good price. And $33.99 is also a good price for an 83-inch because the LG 83-inch is $39.99 still. It needs to be a lot lower, right? So, but what I have here is the Q80C, and this is what I'm talking about, the price war. Look at this, $5,000 now. So we know that when HiSense released its UAK 100-inch, like Monday, Tuesday, it was 5,000. So Samsung saw that, they made their adjustment, but they're already 2 drops behind. So maybe next week we'll see this drop further. So Samsung's trying to keep up. Its Q80C is not mini LED, but at that size, if you trust Samsung more, you know, you want it. And I believe its gaming features are better baked than HiSense. If you want a gaming TV at 98-inch, I'd suggest starting with the Q80C because it is HDR10 plus gaming if you want to try your PC gaming on it. I know there's only one title right now with HDR10 plus gaming that's First Descendant, and you have to have an NVIDIA graphics card 1600 and above, or you enjoy its Motion Plus gaming, or just Samsung has spent the most time perfecting its gaming features on an LCD TV more than any other TV maker, more than LG, more than Sony. Their LCD TVs are easily the best dollar for gaming if it's LCD TVs we're talking about, right? So the Q80C would be an immersive HDR gaming TV. It's got full local dimming zones, barely, but it's got it.
What is it?
And
Is it VA or is it ADS? What is it?
at the
Is it a
98-inch
VA?
size, I don't know. It's
Because I
the
would hate
same
to see.
98-inch. It's probably the same 98-inch technology that TCL is using. So
Well,
whatever that ends
I
up
gotta tell
being.
you
Yeah.
guys, even seeing the Q190A at 98, if it doesn't look good, it's just gonna be a big, ugly TV.
Yeah.
It's hard to recommend them because if they have gray blacks, they will not look better at 98 inches.
Yeah.
So I can't recommend anything under the 85
And speaking of
as far as the
85,
quality.
so this is the first time I'm recommending a Samsung 85-inch $800 TV because HiSense and TCL at this price, I believe,
Jesus.
is actually not as good. I was like, wait a minute, how does Samsung is pulling a
Have you
TCL and HiSense? I'm
have
like,
you
so
said an
at
85
85
inch TV
inches,
for $800?
$800, the TCL and the HiSense is actually more expensive. So if you're okay
Gosh.
with, no, this is just direct lit, edge lit, and the TCL and the HiSense are the same, then the CU7000, just raving reviews. Everyone loves it for what it is. Basic TV, right? We're not talking high-end gaming, but if you want a basic TV, and that would be either the S4, S5, or whatever 4 series that was on the TCL, or the HiSense A6, start with CU7000. It's the only one at 85 inch at $800. It is a good deal for a standard TV price, and that's at Best Buy or at the Samsung website as well. So,
So
yeah.
hard to recommend a TV like that though at that size.
But eight
Does it
hundred
even have
dollars, my friend, it's
does it have
almost free,
HDR?
Brian.
Oh, it says right there,
That's
no
like
HDR.
that, it's 100 cups of coffee.
I mean, God. I mean, just saying, like, guys, size always wins if the TV is of high quality. It does not work if TV is of low quality. I'm just gonna say, and I love big TVs, but you will have a big image that doesn't look great. You need local
And
dimming.
see,
You need
Brian,
HDR.
this is why you're always accused of being a TV snob. I
Yeah,
I, I'm
I'm
one,
never
I'm one with
accused of
the.
such thing. Look, I have a Hisense right back there. It's
Wait,
$700.
even your Hisense is a good Hisense. I love it.
You guys are
Okay,
gonna miss the
so
Hisense back there. Everybody loves the Hisense from 16 feet away.
I love the Hisense, man. Thank you,
20 feet
Robert,
away.
for the super chat. Watching movies on Netflix, and I had a Z8H upgraded to a Z9K, and both TVs, I'm not getting the movie experience. When is it a good time to upgrade to 8K?
Wait,
Okay,
you're not. Why are you not getting the movie? Wait,
I think it's
wait. I had to give
size.
it.
Okay,
See,
so I
watching
think
on the.
I,
What's the
I'm
question?
gonna have
Watching movies
to.
on Netflix. I had a Z8H upgrade to Z9K, and both TVs. I'm not getting the movie experience. What movie experience are you not getting? Are you not liking the TVs?
I think it's immersion. So, Robert, I think there are three things that we have to address. First, movie experience to me is defined by immersion. And
I already know
audio
what you're gonna do.
aside, it's the
Can I
85
just say what you're
inch.
gonna say?
How
FOMO.
far are you sitting away, Robert, from the
Hold
TV?
up, FOMO. Stop what you're saying. This FOMO has done this trend this year, right? He's gonna recommend you go from a Master Series Z9K. You know what you need in your life? 100-inch X90L.
Wait. Let's do that.
Are you
100
selling those from
inch
your house?
HiSense U8K.
You definitely. FOMO is in love with these big TVs now. He's like, oh, you have a monitor? You know what you need? 100-inch U8K.
That's what
This
it
guy's
is,
coming
baby.
from a Z9K.
And this is why. So let's talk about your comment. The movie experience has to be immersive. So obviously you don't want a
Okay.
HiSense, so that's fine. What you need to do is either sit closer or get a larger TV because the immersion at the movie theater, 50 degrees, right? So we talked to Phil Holland, if you caught that, 50 to 60 degrees. But what does that mean in terms of seating distance? If it's an 85-inch Z9K that you have, if you're not 7 feet away or 7.5 feet, you're too far. If you're 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 feet, that is not a movie experience. I mean, that's a large TV experience, right? If you want that movie experience, 50-degree viewing angle is where it's at now. Now, the 8K does remove the screen door effect a lot of people complain of when they're sitting too close. I get that. But then you have to wait for the TCL or the HiSense UX 110-inch 8K TV, currently available in China. So Robert, if you live in China, you can get that. Otherwise, we expect it to come to the USA next year. The 110-inch size UX with a better processor, so maybe UXL, right? And keep your eye out for larger TVs or the Sony X90L, right? 98-inch. But
I
I
knew you were
think
gonna go there. I'm telling you, you must have him at the house. Like, swing by, Cali. Dude, he's going to go from a
That's what it is,
Z90K to an
man. It's the
X90L.
future, right? Now, 8K. So let's talk about the second half of your question. When is it a good time to upgrade to 8K? It's never a good time to upgrade to 8K unless 8K solves a distraction. And I didn't think about this. If you have a screen door effect on the 4K because you're sitting close and you see it, maybe 8K eliminates that. Maybe. I don't know if it does. I've been told that it does.
No,
It doesn't. So then there's nothing there because upscaling 4K to 8K, it relies 100% on the upscaling processor, and there's no guarantee that the Z9K is processing that better. And I know it isn't if you look under a microscope, because our authoring expert, David McKenzie, who was at the shootout, he pulled out his telescope or microscope. He says, I see artifacts. This is crap upscaling. Forget it. And boom, 8K in his eyes, dead.
Well, upscaling by definition is filling with false pixels to create the new image. So I remember when I had the 900A 8K, a movie like 300 FOMO that had that Zack Snyder filter, the TV was literally sparkling. Like it couldn't make that grain real. So it can actually go against you because you're going to be upscaling below 8K or 4K or 1080p. It's just a lot of jumping. It's not the same as downsampling where it cleans it up. It just adds false pixels to create the image, and it's very, very rarely will it be a better image. Almost never.
And T-Bug says it so well. FOMO is influencing me, though as now I keep rationalizing, got to get bigger. And it's not me. It's actually this guy right here. It's Brian.
Yeah, but I cannot believe I'm the voice of reason.
You know what? You got to play with the big boys, right? And the heavyweight division. If you want to look 6 feet tall, you got to buy a 6 foot tall TV.
But whoever thought that I would be the most? If you guys saw us 2 years ago when FOMO was like, "Look, go 55." Now I'm the one telling everybody to hang back. FOMO was like, "You know what you need? 500-inch, baby. Paint the side of your house."
People are like, how do I get this into my basement? You fold it up and you open it when you get downstairs. There's
Pull
no way
your
around
windows
it.
out. Then when you sell the house, you say, hey, look, I got a TV downstairs for you.
Oh, I love you guys. Now let's talk about LG. So we're here. LG's. So LG is pretty easy. I'm not including any of LG's LCD TVs. Because they didn't try, right? I mean, if they're not going to try, I'm not going to try. And this is so important. When a TV maker actually puts effort into the TVs they're selling, whether it's price, competitive, or performance, it makes the list. HiSense, TCL, Sony, Samsung, you can see the effort. They mailed it in for all their LCD TVs. Nothing has changed in the last few years.
Will you support?
So
you support it. Well, they support it.
They don't support it. And the analysts called LG out last week and they said, look, stop it with the OLED. Yes, OLED is great, but where's your mini LED? You're losing money. So these are analysts for shareholders. They're like, LG Electronics, not LG Display, LG Electronics, you need to do what Samsung and Sony is doing. Source more mini LEDs from China because you're not making any money. You're not selling enough OLEDs. And here's the worst part. You know that Samsung, their sales of OLED TVs worldwide is now a quarter of the entire market. That used to be LG's, like LG was like 90%, 85%, and Sony and everyone else was 15%. Samsung comes in and boom, takes 25% of that. Well, at these prices you saw, you know, so LG is like, uh-oh, we're a one-trick pony. But if you are an LG fan, and I respect that, these are the best deals right here.
Well, with LG too, though, FOMO, think about it. LG, the cost of OLEDs is higher than it was when they were making 15 grand for 77. They're more expensive to make than they were. They didn't get cheaper to make. They're not more efficient in that regard. So they're just losing money, and there's competition now. So when they were beating everybody year after year, there was no other OLEDs. They were the only game in town. They just did not adapt fast enough. And Samsung will win just by being a Samsung. Samsung, as FOMO said, we'll sell those 83-inch Samsungs just because they're Samsungs.
Mm-hmm. And look at the price.
They have faith in that brand.
So you bring up Samsung and their OLEDs, right? So look, here you have the least expensive see-through 83-inch And I'm being very aggressive at $38.99, right? Best Buy, maybe their Black Friday will drop this low, but Samsung's already at 3,500 without any further discounts at on Best Buy. It's like, how does the C3 compete with that? LG needs to respond. So for me, the value is actually in the B3. I believe the B3 performance is very similar to the C1, the C10, right? At this point, the B3 is there at a 77-inch size. It's a pretty good deal if you want to stick with LG. Now, it only has
It's
two
got the weaker
ports for
processor
gaming.
though.
Yeah, it's last year's processor, but then some people said
That's
last year's
processor.
processor was better. So,
And
it's
one guy said that.
one guy, Dwayne Davis.
One guy. But that
But
also
you,
illustrates what you said about the A75 and the A80L. There's no compromise.
no,
Current processor. What's
yes,
funny about the C
and
series
a
though,
heatsink.
and the heatsink. So I mean, I just can't. It's just very hard to recommend. But to put things in context, guys, the C1 at 83 launched at 6,000. That's how much. In the A90J at 83 was 8,000. So these are the prices. I know we think
Yeah,
TVs are expensive now, and they are. But guys, these prices are. The Vizio P series was 4,000
the
in
C8,
2016.
C8, that's 2008.
15,
C8
12,
77 inch,
13,000,
13,
77.
15,000 at launch.
So
So
C7,
I know it's
15,000.
expensive, but yeah, and you take inflation into consideration,
Oh my
it's
god!
discounted.
But
And I want to
well,
address
but
this
where's that?
comment.
Where's that money come from, though? Think about it. The companies are
Yeah,
what's losing that. So it's really hard. And I think what Don is saying here, the streaming prices, it is really hard. We're getting close to cable prices now. Once you add
can
everything up.
and so let me tell you why it's going up, and it's not Dolby Vision's fault. That's just a small bite. The, the
Dolby Vision.
reality is, so this is some context. You guys know how popular Disney Plus is, right? I mean, Disney Plus has got everything. It's got the Marvel, it's got
I
Star Wars,
never
it's
watched
got
that. Never
original
watched it.
content, but it's got
Horrible.
a lot. Its library, its own library, is easily the largest out there. Since
Never
it
watched.
started, Brian, do you know how much money it lost? $11 billion.
Yeah.
It has not made any of that. I mean, 11 billion in losses since it started. It is so bad that the CEO's like, what do we do? Cancel streaming? There is no solution.
They're in
And
a,
this is
they're in
Disney
a terrible
Plus.
spot.
Max, same problem. So
Yeah.
why do they raise prices? It's either you raise prices or you go out of business, right? The number one
Yeah.
rule in business, stay in business. Netflix, barely, it has that critical mass, meaning it has just enough subscribers to support its new content, to support everything, but it's a very delicate balance. The minute its subscribership starts to drop because it's raising prices too much, it's going to be where Disney Plus and Max and all of them are, which is this is a money losing endeavor without direct advertising. I mean, a lot of people,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want advertising. Guys, I don't know how
They,
much they can raise subscription, but it's not enough.
no.
Honestly,
Well,
it's just
now you
not
know why
enough to run a business.
the cable companies were so expensive. Honestly, but what's so funny about Netflix? Netflix did recoup with that password. I'm sorry, sharing your accounts. That did go into effect, and they did recoup some of that. But what I think is interesting about our ability now, FOMO, is you can take it or leave it. You don't like Disney Plus, cancel it. Versus cable companies where it was this whole huge mix. You have different tiers. Now just go through and just start knocking it off. I mean, I could get rid of Disney Plus. I'll never watch that. I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
And I love Disney for years, but how many times am I gonna watch Monsters Inc? I mean, Star
Right.
Wars
So many
is
times you watch
done.
Pixar, right?
Yeah, and
Toy
I love
Story.
them, but I mean, even their movies are awful now. So to me, I barely ever. I don't even think I'm signed into it. But if I had to let go of that, no problem.
Look, and it's coming out. Eric Ramirez. Not only does Best
Okay.
Buy give you that price reduction, so Eric Ramirez, thank you for the super chat, is sharing. I got a further price reduction on my 77-inch S90C through chat due to a $200 off promo code received through an email after my purchase and still within the return period. So, once you buy the TV at Samsung, whether it's AAA or not, and you get another email saying, guess what, the TV is now, whatever, $500 less, $200 less, take that coupon, call them, hey, I just bought this TV, how about it? And they're like, done. And the reason is it's within the return period. They'd rather give you that discount than have you return it and then buy it again because you essentially could do that, right? So that's why. So yeah, good call, Eric. Thank you for that bit of advice. Definitely do that if you guys just got a Samsung TV and then a coupon. Or even if you don't get a coupon, check the price on the website. If it's lower and you're within the return period, call them, raise bloody hell.
That's
And
crazy.
we have a super chat from a God's Pet Monkey. I love these names. Thank you. I think that took a lot of time. I'm going to have to take a second to say that's a good name, God's Pet Monkey. I want to move my 83-inch LG C2 to the bedroom and buy a 98-inch TV. Yes, the movement to 98 inches is happening. Would you buy this season's potential Black Friday deal or what is coming next year? If you can hold off God's Pet Monkey next year, because Samsung, Sony, HiSense, TCL, they're seeing the interest. They're seeing HiSense selling out. They're seeing Samsung dropping its price to $5,000, and people are buying it at $5,000. They will start taking it seriously, and I want it to be affordable. I want immersion. What someone was complaining earlier, oh, I got this 85-inch, and somehow it's not the movie theater experience. You know, you're not going to move your chair closer because it's not realistic. Your significant other will probably ban you from the house if you move her furniture around. But
You have it on
maybe
your
you
lap.
get the TV bigger. So, yes.
I love how an
God's
85-inch
Pet.
TV is now not big enough for you guys. I couldn't get you guys to go over 65. Now everybody's like, well, I'm going to move my man's going to move his 83-inch C2 to his bedroom.
Well,
Kind
Brian,
of guy.
would you wait? I mean, would you tell God's Pet Monkey to wait?
I just couldn't see going from a C2 to a large LED. I mean, it would have to be one of considerable value. I mean, I love you guys and I love large TVs, but you're going from OLEDs to very large, not quality TVs. You have to be careful. You have to. The processing on these TVs is not as good as your TV you're leaving. So just keep in mind, there is. I don't want. How am I the voice of reason here? I just can't believe it's. You're going to lose a lot, especially in contrast ratio and your processing. The C2 is excellent at 83, but if you want it in your bedroom, I would wait. Honestly.
Yep, I would wait. Now, again, when you get a good deal, 100-inch U8K, that's why it's sold out, $3,500. Hey, I don't think that it's going to be much cheaper than $3,500. Maybe more gaming features, but $3,500 is pretty solid. If you're needing a 110-inch, though, you got to wait. That's coming next year. And John Hooper, great comment.
One quick thing.
Uh-huh.
I know you guys forgot this, but DSC is not gone. So screen uniformity is much worse on a larger TV. So you're recommending TCLs and HiSenses at that size. Be very careful. You're going to have massive screen uniformity issues. And guys, a dirt spot on a 65-inch is this big. On a 100-inch, it's like this. So when you watch Brandon be the installer, he'll always say, well, screen uniformity is not great on this. So just keep in mind. I'm just saying, I know FOMO's selling these big ones. They're not perfect.
And what is it?
I would not buy one. I would not buy one myself.
But what is it I always ask? What TV are you coming from? If they're coming from a HiSense H9G, U9F, right? That uniformity was crap to begin with. It can only be the same or get better. Now, if they're coming from a pristine, fancy TV like you, the C2, the A80J...
He had a C2, you're going to put it in his bathroom.
See, if you're coming from a fancy TV, you got to stay fancy. I gotcha.
Yeah, but this guy's like, look, I got a Z9K. I don't like it. What should I get? 100-inch Vizio for you.
See, so if you're coming from a fancy Z9K, yeah, you got to wait.
I'm the voice of reason here. You know what you need? You need a Sharp from 1990.
Well, someone asked, what about a Sharp OLED? They don't sell it in the U.S., so I can't comment on that. But
it was supposed to be at Value Electronics. They never sent it.
It never arrived, right? Yeah.
I was supposed to see it after the XLED, so it didn't show up.
And John Hooper has a great comment. Meanwhile, YouTube is counting.
John,
two reasons, John. One, ads. People aren't complaining. It's free, YouTube, ads. They're making money on the ads, hand over fist. But again, it's because of that critical mass of viewers. They got the critical mass, so now the ads are paying off. But remember, maybe right after the pandemic, ad prices dropped. Like at the beginning of the recession, people stopped paying ads. And I know because they stopped paying me, right? Like,
yeah, we all felt it.
My ad rate just dropped. It's because the companies were afraid they go out of business. They started laying off people. They cut back on ads. It affected YouTube directly. But now, good times again. They're paying ads through the nose for Black Friday. So YouTube's receiving so much ad money to pay to their creators and so forth. So ads and of course subscription. You have that premium tier, you know, it's a few dollars, way more affordable. And here's the thing that not many people know. I'm sure you guys know, but the next generation, they watch more YouTube than any other platform. More than Netflix, more than Disney. If you added Netflix, Disney, and Prime together, doesn't match up to how much a teenager watches YouTube. So people between the age of 14 and 29 spend more time on YouTube than any other dedicated video platform. So
TikTok
sometimes
is
we use
also hitting that
Netflix,
too.
but we forget about YouTube. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, they want that quick, quick.
Oh yeah, a quick 15-minute,
TikTok is eating into that.
quick 20-minute, unless they're watching your video, right? You know, I have to say, Brian, so yesterday, I thought my premiere at 16 minutes was long. People are like, that's it? I'm like, dude, you guys are
hour
watching,
50, baby.
you're watching Brian's 1 hour premieres way too often. So we're having this stream to satisfy the masses.
So when these guys are in my premieres, if I do one, it's 20 minutes. The minute I go, thank you guys for watching, right in the comments, you're like, what the hell? I just got my popcorn.
And Getty wants to tell people.
Look, I did that on purpose for you, Getty G. I knew he was going to be like,
Getty's going to start rolling in. Guys, it's only $500. Go now.
No, he's saying, do not spoil my excitement, party pooper. Now he's going to be looking about screen uniform, but he's like, oh, come on. That's why it's so cheap, baby. I'm just kidding. Don't go looking for problems, G-Man. Just enjoy your TV.
Yes. So remember,
there's no panning side to side. Just let things be right in the middle.
But G-Man's coming from an H9G. Trust me when I say the DSC on that isn't great, but it didn't spoil your experience, so you should be okay. Let's talk about HiSense. Now, as you can see on the HiSense we'll start with HiSense. Very good value deals, right? I mean, $899 right now. The U8K is $899 at Best Buy. $899. That is 65-inch is a phenomenal deal. That's their Black Friday special. TCL cannot compete. I cannot recommend a QM8 for $1,100 for even $1,000. I still recommend $899. That's pretty good. Now I expect QM8 to match at $999. The U8K 100 inch is now $34.99. It's possible it might go lower, but $34.99 right now. Again, for a 100 inch, this just blows me away. And it's a mini LED. And the U7K 650, same thing. Very good deal at the 65-inch size. TCL this year, I think they're kind of going a bit high on this, especially that 98-inch at $8,000. It's inexplicable. Now, the 98-inch, that is $3,500. It's just an LCD TV. Direct lit. It doesn't have any dimming zones. It's not a mini LED. So it's a good basic. It's probably going to be reliable because it doesn't have dimming zones, but it won't have the contrast of the U8K at that same price. So this is kind of nuts. The S5 needs to be at $2,500. Honestly, to compete. But it's at $3,500, and I don't see them dropping it to $2,500. But if it does, I'll let you guys know. So yeah, it's kind of. What are your thoughts of the prices this year, though? I mean, this is kind of like.
I saw HiSense at CES. We were shocked when they said they were going mini LED across the board. So I love that. The U6, is that on there too, FOMO? Or is that where's that?
No, the U6.
I know. I didn't have a chance to see it.
I haven't had a chance to see it. I consider the U6 similar to that range because even though it's quote-unquote mini LED and dimming zones, at this point, the compromises I noticed with HiSense at a certain price point, the motion is just bad. They drop down their motion processing, the tone mapping, the clipping. So if that's your budget, get it. Because that's what you're going to get, right? It's either the U6 or the S5. And this is why, if you're going to go there anyway, go with the larger Samsung 85-inch and just enjoy the hell out of the size. Because that immersion will be better than the HDR improvement that's on the U6K, but it's at 65, 75 inches. I'd rather you go 85 inches on a Samsung. So, I mean, it's just compromises, really.
Well, and I think the U7 is so affordable, it kind of didn't give the U6 anywhere to go.
Yeah.
The U7 was so affordable.
And hey, thank you for the super sticker, Buddy Love. Para character lifting some weights saying keep it up. I remember when we got this first super sticker and Brian's like, is he insulting me? Where does he live? How dare he call me a pear?
He was like pear shape. I'm like, this is another fat joke? because we can't see the emojis. So all we do is read that. We don't see
This
it.
is like the accessibility version, right?
Air shit. What the hell?
Hey, God's Pet Monkey, thank you for the follow-up. Thanks. You just saved me from buying the QM8 and stopped an impulse purchase. Oh, I should
Sorry.
say, don't. TCL's like, you. What kind of influencer are you? We have had
Was it?
both. What?
Who are you thanking? Are you thanking me or are you thanking him?
We have
So
had
yeah,
both a 120-inch and now 150-inch ALR with a 4K projector. Not a fan. So, first of
wait. So
all,
did you not? What did you not buy the QM8 or he? You see,
so he
we
didn't.
saved you from
He
buying.
stopped, but he's currently with his large screen. It's an ALR screen, but he's not a fan. And I think it's because you have to watch it in a completely dark room, and even then, it's still slightly washed out. It's SDR, right? It's just a large SDR experience. Now, a lot of people would prefer that immersion over better HDR, but I think at 110-inch, you're getting closer. So wait, God's Pet Monkey. Next year, I'm hoping 110-inch at 4K because, and this is why a lot of you ask me, wait, 110-inch, don't you need it to be 8K? The issue is 8K introduces more obstacles than it solves. So 8K only solves one thing, pixel density, and you might notice it if you're at a closer range. However, it introduces three issues. One, heat. To get the same brightness out of an 8K panel as a 4K, you have to put, it's not linear, but at least 50% more energy, maybe 80% more energy to get through those pixels. And so if you want an 8K TV to look as bright as a 4K, it's going to burn a lot more energy in the same picture mode. And then more pixels means more ICs, more transistors, more things to go wrong, right? The local dimming has more issues. The software has to be better. I don't trust that any TV company is going to get it right, short of maybe Sony. And so it's not worth it. I think the 4K, even though the pixels are, the density is slightly less, but everything else is going to be better. The contrast, the blooming control, the expense, the longevity, all of that will be better because there's less heat being produced by the 4K. So don't be so excited to go into 8K because it introduces so many things that could go wrong with a TV. But no one talks about that. They just talk about the resolution.
Yeah. Well, plus for gamers, those of you that are high-end gamers, I have a 4090, and it's so reliant on DLSS just to get 4K 120. 8K, who wants the game at 8K 10 frames per second? There's just the games are so poorly optimized. I can't recommend it even for 8K gaming. What are you going to play? Like really slow walking simulators? It's just not worth it for any reason.
And you bring up another point. So 8K gaming, so the research has shown, short of what you said, missed those dramatic static scene games where there's not a lot of movement. 8K action requires 8K at 120 frames per second.
To see the
Not
motion resolution.
8K 30, right. The motion resolution at 8K needs to be 120. No TV can handle that, and no card can handle that. Otherwise, it looks just like 4K 120. So 8K, but at 30 FPS, 4K 120 looks better because the motion resolution at 120 frames per second on 4K looks better than 8K 30, same fast action scene because that
Yeah.
blur is no longer 8K. The motion resolution cannot keep up with the pixel density. So, and it's on there. They have it in the horizon. TCL has an 8K 180, 240 in production. They're prototyping it. But how much is that going to cost? It's like, I'm just
Yeah.
watching a movie, man. I don't need to pay the extra expense for an 8K 120 panel. It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
but for gaming, I know we had 4K 60 is still what everyone's trying to hit. I go 4K 120, but even I've stopped looking at 4K 144 as a reason to buy because the GPUs just even the 4090, it's the most powerful card in the world. It still needs DLSS to hit 120 on Alan Wake 2. Even this RoboCop game that I just bought, it's decent looking. It's not great. It still needs DLSS to hit 120. That shows you 8K is not even in their equation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's overpowered with no game or software to support it, basically. Mr. Mystery. These names are great. Thank you for the super chat. Do you have any insight into why LG seems to be so behind with their technology? Their monitors are quite expensive, but also using old technology. What a shame. So here's the thing, and
R&D,
I think
baby.
this is a misstep by LG. They were so far ahead in OLED, right? So before Samsung came along QD OLED, they were the it company with OLED. And Sony processing, but LG is right there. They had MLA. So MLA was not something, you know what? I just thought of MLA. Let's implement it tomorrow.
Like
They've been
like 5
sitting
years
on
ago.
MLA. They've been sitting on this for years.
Years.
Then QD OLED comes in. They're like, oh, whatever, QD OLED. It's just Samsung's first year. We got a few more years. And it blew people away. And then suddenly the Sony A95K comes out same year with QD OLED, beats LG's best. And LG designed the G2 to beat the A90J. Well, it got beat by the A95K. Suddenly LG's like, oh man, I gotta bring out MLA now. They could have brought MLA out a year earlier. And then the following year, this year, they could have had MLA on the C series. Then there would be no complaints. So LG technically is not behind. Their strategic team, their product strategy team, their business team, whoever is in charge of releasing it, they screwed up, basically. They wanted to milk as much money on a low-cost TV for the margin. And look at the margins. It's insane. Look how expensive it is. The, was it, $2,200 for a 65-inch when it performs very similar to the S90C for 500 less, or the 77-inch
Yeah.
on the S90C is equal to the G3 at 77-inch, and it's so much
Yeah.
less. I mean, the
Yeah.
prices, the 5-year warranty doesn't make up that difference. So
Well,
it's just
yeah.
something, yeah. I mean, what do you think? Why do you think LG is falling behind, quote unquote?
So last year it actually worked. I mean, the C2 became our most recommended TV at the end of
Yes.
the year for consistency and value. That was because QD OLED maxed at 65 inches, and the A95K was very expensive, being a master series. So the C2 became, having a 77, having an 83. The problem is they're reactive instead of proactive. So they really hung back, as FOMO said, a year too late. Had they done the G2 with MLA, then the C3 could have had MLA, and they would have counteracted QD OLED. Now, if they give the C4 MLA, how's it going to be in the G4? So they're going to get to where they're going to cannibalize their own lineup, and they're going to give you, like FOMO, we predicted a lesser MLA on the C series.
That's what I'm
But
predicting.
then,
And it's in
yeah,
there. Okay, they have it. Will they release it? They better. And,
yeah,
here's
but
the
the
last thing.
little one should have MLA too. The big 83 should have MLA. The 42 and the 48 should have MLA,
Easily.
and then they'll do
Easily.
well. But if the S90 is, here's the problem, FOMO. If the S90 is still so cheap, MLA still doesn't help that, because you
Hmm.
still have a QD
Yeah.
OLED. So the S90B or S90C, or what will be next year, it's still the same problem. They're just, and Samsung can afford to take the loss. LG cannot. That's where you can never beat that.
And I want to address the monitors at the end. And this is the ultimate slap in the face. Their monitors are expensive, but using old tech. Okay, how does it make sense that their TVs have Dolby Vision gaming and HGIG, but their
Yeah.
monitors do not? And it's not just LG. LG OLED monitors do not have HGIG, nor do they have Dolby Vision gaming. Asus, MSI, Dell, all the QD OLED and WOLED monitors announced for CES and for next year, no confirmation and no expectation that they will support Dolby Vision gaming, HDR10 plus gaming, or the basic HGIG. How hard is HGIG? It is the easiest one to implement, right?
Yeah.
No support for that. And so I'm like, wait, why would developers work so hard on HGIG if the enthusiast monitor doesn't support it? What, they're making games for just TV owners? And so there's this disconnect. I don't understand it. If
So
anything, this is where LG could kill it. They'd be the only gaming monitor that
they'd be
supports
the
that.
only ones. But when
The
you get
only
into
one.
what's funny is you said that about. I remember I almost bought the 49-inch Odyssey. First of all, that's horrible. Samsung's Odyssey, they call everything a freaking Odyssey. But that QD OLED was like 300 nits. And I was like, wait a second, why is it not 1,000 nits? It's just, when it comes to monitors, it's all about latency. They want everything to be quick and fast, and they're cheap and whatever. It just, you'll never have the TV crowd and the monitor crowd together. So, it's just, I don't know. But I would have had that FOMO. I thought if I could get a 1500 nit QD OLED, Monitor at 49 inches, I would have bought it in a second. The minute I heard it was 300 nits, I'm like, why the hell would I buy that?
Doesn't make sense. Hey, Scott, thank you for that question and super chat. M-Wave, do I need a VIP tickets or VIP gold? So, regular tickets gets you into the entire event. That's it. VIP tickets, whether it's VIP gold or diamond or platinum, all the different levels, they get you to basically the highest level. You go to on all the home theater tours, you get to check out $100,000 home theaters. You sit there, you talk to the owner, you ask him questions. Hey, what's your room treatment? Oh my gosh, you got this $5,000 JTR triple 18-inch subwoofer, and it's insane. So the highest level gets you on the home theater tours in the area, and they're very nice, right? And they sit down and they answer. They help you decide whether this speaker system is for you, and you hang out with us, right, Brian and I. But the regular tickets gets you to the entire event. So VIP levels are just different meal packages and different tours where you get deeper into the home theater experience. But regular tickets gets you to the event where you could sit and hang out with Brian and I. So we will have our own room, giant TVs everywhere. This year we want to get HiSense to get us a 98-inch or 100-inch or 110-inch. So we're going to work at CES. We're going to work the room at CES and say, guys, you saw how popular M-Wave was last year. We want this year to be the year of 100-inch TVs. Get them over there so we can compare them. I mean, we had a 98-inch Q98. People are like, wow, that's actually pretty nice at that size. It's too bad the image quality kind of sucks.
Well, once we got out of filmmaker mode, it was fantastic. But I think if you want to stay with M-Wave for 1 second, what I think is amazing with M-Wave, even versus CES and the other, even the Valuetronic Shootout, which is still a private event, is not only you get to hang out with us, it's grab the remote, go through the settings. You can't do that at CES. So you'll be able to sit with us. We're going to have gaming there this year. And then you can actually walk around. Leave your stuff with us in our room. Walk around. Check out all these crazy home theaters.
Oh, man,
Projectors, subs. They sell stuff there at a big discount. So for us, it's a matter of don't just come meet us. Come hang out with us and get to know these TVs the way we do. I think you guys will have a blast. I would love to see you guys and meet you guys, but spend the weekend with you. I mean, there's restaurants there. If Fomo and I go out to eat for lunch, we'll go out for dinner, we'll be around. So come hang out with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love this. Oprah Wind Fury. This is the time for great names. 77-inch B3 or 75-inch HiSense U8K. Which is the better choice? So the B3 is 77-inch. I think is like $17.99. Let's look it up real quick. I think so. Who knows? Maybe they dropped in price and I wasn't paying attention. So it is currently, yep, $1,800, but this is not Black Friday pricing. So maybe it'll drop another 100. So let's say $1,700 for the B3, right? The other option was the HiSense U8K 75-inch, which I believe is also on sale. So let's check that out. There we go. Type this in.
Yeah, so Lisa, you coming to M-Wave?
I hope so. If she comes, I'll get her a protein smoothie. I promise.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Well, yeah, come down. We
1,300.
get a chance to meet Iceman and the Bob. We had to come. I'm not going to say his real name, but he was there. We hung out with High Def News at the Valuetronic and asked them. They hung out with us during the shootout. We were on camera the whole time. We still chilled with them. They got on camera. We'll be streaming the whole time. You guys can get on camera too and talk to the communities. I think it's something that we can do as a meetup as well. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's
come on, Lisa, let's go.
It's our show. We'll have fun. So,
yeah.
Great question here. The 77-inch B3 is the better image quality, just generally speaking, especially if you're in a light-controlled room. Now, the U8K will get brighter. If you're watching sports, you're in a bright room, you have a little bit of glare, and you want it to be bright enough in a high ambient light room, then you should get the U8K. And it's not because it's better image quality. It's because in a bright room, the B3 might be too dim, and that affects your experience. But in a darker room, I would get the B3. So let us know, Oprah Winfrey. If you're in a light-controlled room, it's not completely dark, but it's controlled, get the B3. But if you have windows everywhere, you might consider the U8K. But I would start with the B3. Just start with the B3. Try it out. And remember, once you go OLED, you cannot go back. So 77-inch OLED, you can only go up from here. And the good news is this. From 77-inch B3, you can get to the 77-inch S90C. So the question is, why are you not considering the 77-inch S90C? So let's go back.
You just illustrated why the B is not even an option. But I love how you called the person Oprah Winfrey instead of Winfrey. You said Oprah Winfrey like it was the color purple.
Yeah. The S90C, you can get it for $19.99 for a 77-inch, so it's like, $100 or $200 more. It's so hard, and this is why. Now, I know if you need Dolby Vision, okay, got it. We're not going to talk about why you should or shouldn't have Dolby Vision at this point, but I understand if that's why you need it. Otherwise, I would recommend the S90C over the B3 all day long at 77 inches. If you can get that where you are, Dennis Camps has a super chat. Just watched your last stream, 3 hours. Love it. Brian was only 3 hours, and you had to leave early too. I got a G1 in the bedroom, now for my living room, G3 or 80L. 65-inch is big enough for now. So, if he's not a gamer, I say A80. If you're not a gamer, I say A80L. Even if you are a gamer, I would still say A80L. Brian?
Yeah, A80L is a sleeper, baby. It's a sleeper. The XR Clear is the truth. So I would say A80L. And I love the G3, but the G3 again has diminished slightly, just with the fact that it's just you got to buy a stand for it. I don't love the design of the G3. I like regular OLED designs more. So.
And for me, Dennis, two
Reign
reasons.
the king of Sony.
You're not complaining about the G1 being too dim, right? If you complain the G1 was too dim, I would direct you to the G3 because that TV is literally the brightest OLED you can get and arguably brighter than many mini LED TVs. But you didn't complain it was dim. That means the A80L is bright enough because the A80L is easily as bright, if not brighter than the G1. But its image processing is better, in my opinion, than the G3 in terms of motion and the XR Clear and all of that great stuff. And the audio on the A80L puts the G3 to shame. So, if you're not planning to get a soundbar, the A80L is definitely the better TV given the price, given the audio, given that you're happy with the G1. A80L is a little bit better. And now, if you need that brightness, you got windows everywhere, the G3 will beat the glare. But I'm not hearing that from you, so save some money, get the A80L, enjoy the heck out of it.
Well, it's crazy too, FOMO. Think about what we said last year. At the beginning of the TV year, no one gave a crap about the A80L. And now at the end of the year, it's one of our most recommended TVs. It just shows you that
I know.
you really got to wait the TV year out. Last year, the C2 was the big recommendation, and nobody cared about that TV till the end of the year.
Yep.
So you got to hang out with us the whole year.
Well, things change. Prices change. Like, where was the HiSense 100-inch? And suddenly it's $3,500. That changes everything, right? Or where was the S90C? Suddenly it's $19.99. My editor's choice. And it was my editor's choice because it was $19.99 like 3 months ago. And then the S90C 83-inch, I didn't want to talk about it until they dropped it to $34.99. Now I'm like, wait. That means there's even more room to go lower. I mean, you can beg and plead and drop it even further.
Yeah.
So we have a friend list in the Philippines. Come on. You got friends in the Philippines. FOMO, should I get an A80L or S90C Costco version? You got Costco in the Philippines? A Costco version. I mostly stream Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV Max, A80L. I'm hearing streaming, and who knows what the internet's like in the Philippines, but play it safe. If you don't need it for gaming, right? I don't see you mention gaming or anything like that. I don't watch any sports, but the A80L for streaming is amazing. I like the A80L for exactly what you have. And the audio is better than the S90C. So even the Costco version, the A80L will have that amazing audio. So what are your thoughts, Brian?
Same. And the A80, again, use case, 4K HDR, maybe the S90C, but again, upscaling with most people, including ourselves. I think somebody mentioned streaming before, FOMO. It's amazing how many of these streaming movies are 1080p again, but not all 4K. So upscaling is a factor. If you like YouTube TV and you watch that versus more of what we talked about with, again, the point is we're not watching 4K Blu-rays anymore as much anyway. upscaling is going to become more important than ever. And I would have to then say
Yes.
Sony.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
especially
somebody
now
said
that
I was a Sony
Max.
king.
Max is killing us with these, or HBO, formerly HBO Max. They're starting to lower the tiers. You're getting now 720p, 1080p. So you're not even, like my
No,
AT&T package comes with Max. No more. This package now defaults to the lower tier. I cannot even get the 4K tier through AT&T.
which is crazy because Max, I remember was a Godzilla versus King Kong was 4K HDR, and then you're like, oh, I'll watch Godzilla from 2000, I think 14, and that was 1080p. Another movie, Malevolent, that was then 1080p. And you're like, wait a second, these aren't even in HDR. So they're very
Yeah.
sneaky with that. Where Netflix, everything is 4K HDR, whether it's real or not. So upscaling is still it's now more important than ever to where I'm actually considering it to be something more important.
I love this question from Abhinav because it's so out of the box and it's exactly the kind of question I want to address. I have a 55-inch S95B. This was the TV you and I were like, wow, this is the future QD OLED, right? I live by
Love that
myself.
best moment. It was our best moment right there.
It was our
Fun
best
that
video.
thumbnail. I'm like this. Ah!
And was it Max? I'm throwing my 89J out the window. He has the 890J. On the YouTube stream, he's like, oh my gosh, I can even tell it's a better TV
Oh
on
yeah,
YouTube, right? It was crazy. So I live by myself. Should I consider a 77-inch S90C, 895L, just next gen QD OLED, or wait for the Apple Vision Pro? Moving and installing a 77-inch TV sounds tough. So here's the thing, Abhinav. You already have a S95B 55-inch. Getting the S90C or A95L is not a huge upgrade, honestly. I mean, it's slightly. The huge upgrade is the size. However, if you're okay with the 55-inch size now, wait. Because two things. One, next year, the A95L will get cheaper for sure. And the 77 inches will also get cheaper. But more importantly, the Vision Pro, they will start releasing a more competitive price structure. They'll have multiple types of Vision Pros. They have the kitchen sink Vision Pro, right, with the special, these glasses. You could add special optics so that it matches your lens, and it's way overbuilt at 3500. They're going to have a 2500 version that's a bit stripped down. So if you are in contacts, doesn't matter, right? It'll be lighter, but the power of the Vision Pro will be very similar. Same great micro LED or micro OLED that they're using from Sony. But if you're solo, I think it's worth waiting for the Apple Vision Pro, mostly because you already have a 55-inch S95B. We always say wait for as long as you can because better options will always come.
yeah. I just had a flashback. We did the S95B. That was the last minute, and then our audio was screwed up. So I was actually like listening to you on the phone, and I was like, wow.
But
It
that
was,
this S95B was such a screwed up launch. This is how screwed up it
but it
was.
was,
You guys don't
it
remember.
was, hold on. It was the scene from Spears and Muscle when the pen comes out of light, and it was so bright. I was like, wow. I was like, oh my, it's one of my favorite moments on YouTube.
Leading up to that was also shocking because the S95B was not releasing anywhere. It was on the Samsung website and it said shipping. I go, oh. So I clicked on it and then I called Samsung because, my contacts, they're like, hey guys, you guys already have the Samsung S95B. That's so cool. I'm getting it next week. Anything I should know? Because I need to know, I want to include all the specs. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, it is. He goes, what? Did Samsung Korea send it to you? I go, no, it's on your website. And he's like, what? And so the guy checks the website and goes, this is wrong. And within 48 hours, they shut that down. So the S95B was another unexpected early release where even Samsung USA did not know it was available. And if I didn't call them, it would have still been up, right? So a couple of us, several of us bought it right when it came out, and then within a week it was shut down. So because they had nothing up there. Marketing was wrong. I mean, I was looking, I goes, are these specs right? They go, what are you talking about? It's not releasing yet. And
Yeah,
so
I have
I go,
it
no, I
right
have it
now.
right
But
here.
they did the same thing with the A95L this year.
The
People are like, "Oh my god,
S95C, right?
is that thing out there?" You're like, "Oh, I got it right here." Dude,
I got
I'll
it
tell
from
you
you
guys a quick
guys.
story. The funny thing thank you, Lisa. The funny thing about the A95L drop is then I had Rob Brennan, my boy. He's like, look, I know a guy who can get to FOMO because FOMO had like this raw A95L, and the engineers were like, I need to call him right now because he's got like how backward is that?
Dolby Vision wasn't working at the time. The tone mapping was
Yeah,
not working. I mean, I'm like, this feels like it's half baked. He goes, because it is. It's still not ready to take
it's
out
like
of the oven. What are you doing with this
this thing's supposed
TV?
to it's still in the garage. Like, oh, I have it. I've had it for 2 weeks. I got 30 videos on it. That's
And
funny.
thank you so much, Lisa, for the super chat.
Thanks,
Just wanted
Lisa.
to say thanks for another great live stream with FOMO and Bryant. Why, you're welcome. And we
Our
need to meet
pleasure.
up. You need to come to M Wave or
Oh,
CES
we'll have to do
or
this.
the
Yeah,
shootout. You have a standing invitation and reservation no matter
absolutely.
which one you show up to.
Absolutely.
For sure, Lisa.
Absolutely.
And we have a super chat from Alex W. Thank you, my friend. I just ordered a Sharp FS1 65-inch OLED from Valley Electronics for $1,500. That's a reason to get an OLED. Not a bad
Wow.
price. Promo. Seems it's a WOLED in the US versus QD OLED in Japan. Any thoughts on that TV for 2023? So, not having seen it, I would treat that TV very similar to the Samsung WOLED because one, it's so new. It feels like their image processing for that TV may be first generation still, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just we don't know. Now the price is compelling, so let us know. Hopefully the audio is great. The thing is, the QD OLED
Yeah.
in Japan. I wish Sharp brought that over because that would have been a game changer for Sharp. But I don't think
Oh,
they
I
had
bet.
the volume. Yeah, they know they could sell it in Japan, but probably they didn't think they'd have enough to sell in the US. So, but let us know, Alex, how is the audio on the Sharp? Because I was impressed by what I saw with the Sharp LCD TV audio, right, Brian? Oh,
Yep,
wait, but it's
absolutely.
at Valley Electronics. Maybe you'll get a chance to see it when you visit.
Okay.
Hey, how long do I have you for? It's
Probably
already,
another
what
five
was it,
minutes.
6:30 your time?
Yeah, probably another 5 minutes.
All right, so let's see.
Because I gotta go hang out with my wife. I'm still married. No, I have
You're,
this
you're,
love
you
nest.
got to leave your love nest and go home?
Put some pants on. Go out.
All right, so yes, yes. Let us know any more questions. So now let's just summarize in the context of all the TV, right? So I want to make sure I hit this. So if you look at all the brands, right? You got Sony, Samsung, LG, HiSense, TCL. The highlighted greens are definitely my favorite among all of them, regardless of brand or model. And so for sure, $14.99 or less. Now, I think it can get lower. So if you are interested in the A75L, wait until 2024 for sure. If you need to get a TV now, I'm very comfortable recommending this. If you don't need the audio, it's just whatever audio, right? Similar to the S90C, but $16.99, that extra $200 does get you a better audio. And everything else is a bit overpriced still, except for the $999 X90L. And I say $999 because I'm convinced it will be $999 at a flash sale on Black Friday or around there. So watch out for that if this is your price point. And I would choose this as an alternative to the TCL or HiSense, right? The HiSense U8K, TCL QM8. This is as good as those two and definitely better than the U7K or the Q7. So the XR Clear does make a difference. And I have both the QM8 and the X90L. So I'll do a comparison sometime next week. I'll put it up and then you guys can see how they've kept up with the times. For OLED, nothing beats $19.99 for the 77-inch. This is such a good value. Now, if you take value aside and you want, I just want the best, get the A95L, pay $5,000, 77-inch, call it a day. But if you want something that's 98% of that, maybe 95%, if you are a stickler for motion and upscaling, the 77-inch is so close, right? Because it's either this or you go to the A95K, but it doesn't have a 77-inch size, and you got to go up to A95L. I mean, that's how this is such a good deal. I don't know how else to put it. And these two are okay, right? These prices are not bad, but 77-inch, people in this market at this budget, you guys are just killing it with that one.
It's so
And
crazy that the LG just isn't in that conversation, though they pioneered it. You
it's
think
the
they'd be the ones
price.
who?
I mean, look at the price, right? Look
Yeah,
how
it's crazy.
it's
That's nuts. But
the
it's just
B3.
ironic that you think that they'd be able to be in this conversation no matter what. I never thought I'd see a time where LG wasn't in this conversation.
The
You think about it.
performance
Crazy.
is there. So I want to be fair to LG. I'm not saying you guys suck. But when another TV gives it similar, arguably, and it's arguably better gaming in some situations, we're not going to talk about the dropouts because that's, I don't know.
That could be a
144
case by
hertz. Don't
case.
get any TV for, don't get any Samsung for 144, and don't get
No,
anything with a One Connect box. Let's talk about the S90C. It is a very good gaming TV, but look at the price. It's LG needs to adjust by Black Friday. It really needs to. I mean,
so
I'm
much.
recommending the B3 because the pricing is compelling just enough. And of course, HiSense and TCL, best bang for the buck. But if you're looking for 85 inch under $900, this one right here, Samsung CU7000 for sure.
Crazy. Well, great job with the
What
chart. Love it.
I just Don asks, what are the requirements to attend M-Wave and CES? So M-Wave is easy. You pay for the tickets, you're in. I think it's like $75 a ticket. It's in
Yep.
Kansas City. Boom, you have access to, I think, Saturday and Sunday. It's 2 days. Friday I think is check-in, Saturday and Sunday, and then depending on your tier, you can also participate in the blind. There's a double blind speaker test, which was amazing, right? They have the speakers behind a curtain, and it rotates, and you get to listen to different price speakers from SVS all the way up to a per listen to see if you can tell the difference between speakers. So I thought that was so eye-opening because SVS ended up
Very tough.
matching the best of the best. And I left like, you know what, SVS, bravo. Double
It was
blind
blind.
win
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
So M-Wave is just a ticket price away. CES, you have to be in the technology industry. So when you apply, you still have to pay for a ticket, but you have to also verify through your employer or something to confirm that you're quote unquote in the tech industry. And this is very loose, by the way. I mean, when they say tech, literally anything that has a chip or a chemical could be tech. So if you work for an auto repair and your auto repair is on the internet, have your boss sign up. He's in charge of my website. And we need to go to CES to see what's the best way to connect our customers to their tracking, their service, work, whatever it is, doesn't matter. They want everyone who's going there because it's part of the business and it's a write-off for you guys, right? So CES has that extra layer. And if your wife or spouse works in the industry, you can be their assistant and they're sending you to represent whatever. Very easy. But you have to have that extra. Now, if you're in the media or the press, then there's no ticket prices. You go free of charge. So Brian and I will be there, obviously. But yes, those are the two requirements. So hopefully we'll see you there, Don.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And Amazon just sold out on the 85UX because the 85UX dropped in price. Remember when it was like 4,000 and we were complaining? That should be 35. I think it dropped to 3,300 personally because if you go in Best Buy, it's not Black Friday pricing yet. So I see there's still more room to drop even
Another
further.
limited run. Yep.
Yeah. All right. We're going to catch a couple more super chats and then we'll let you go, Brian. Hey, thanks for coming by.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Giddy,
Getting
why
still in.
the S94BD is not your list, FOMO?
Hold on, let's-
Because I consider the S94BD, the S95B, same TV, and I don't even know if it's Gen 1 or Gen 2, but they don't have the latest processor, and they're priced just like the S90C, and the S90C has the additional game bar features, so it's like, if it was a few $100s cheaper than the and I think it's unique to Best Buy as well, I'd rather you get the S90C for the same price. So yeah, but if it drops in price to, I don't know, like $300 cheaper than the S90C, I'd recommend it, but I can't even guarantee that. So it's in a weird place. I don't know what sound. I think those are just leftovers from last year. Hey, Shravan Kumar Kanan. Thank you for the super chat. Hi guys, love your work. Got 1400 for my first living room TV. 85-inch U7K for 13-foot placement, 75-inch X90L for 7 to 8-foot seating. I like the 75-inch X90L because if you have flexibility in seating and you're not sitting too close, 75-inch, 7 feet, way better than 85-inch at 13 feet. 13 feet is really far. I mean, we're talking 110, 120 inches. 75-inch for 7 to 8 feet, much better. And the X90L, you're going to notice the better sharpness, better upscaling. I go with that. And especially if you're coming from an older TV, the X90L is bright enough. It may not have the contrast of the QM8, But an older now, if you're coming from an OLED, you might have to go with the QM8, by the way, because QM8 comes very close to OLED contrast. But if you're not coming from an OLED, you're coming from LCD, especially an older one, the 75-inch X90L will blow your mind with its color and image processing out of the box. Or the 55, 65 A80, 65-inch A80L. Now, at 8 feet away, the 65-inch A80L, I'd rather you go with the 75-inch X90L and then upgrade to a 77-inch QD OLED when budget permits in 5 years.
Too far away.
I think that's the way to go. But let me know what kind of TV you have right now, Shravan, and we'll talk. All right, let's see. So, my friend, when is your big reveal for your mystery extra large gaming OLED? We were talking about which one of these are yours. People are guessing. Some are guessing the A95L, that's the number one, and others saying, no, Brian's getting the A80L. And I know you're holding us in suspense. When is your big reveal? When is that video coming? When are we going to talk about it?
So the TV will be here Monday. So then I'm going to need a day with it, and then I'll do a video where I reveal it. I'll just be my new TV. We'll do it, and I won't tell you what it is, and then we'll show it throughout the video. We'll have that as a premiere. And then I think you and I plan on doing a stream. So I guess that video will probably be up Tuesday. And then we can do a stream if you want, maybe Wednesday night. And I think we're going to have the reasoning for why I chose it. I think we should do that as a live stream on your channel if you want to do that.
We're going to have fun with that live stream. I cannot wait for that unveil. And we're going to talk about
Because what I like about us doing something like that, we'll talk about the reasoning for choosing that. And I think that'll help you guys also choose what you want to get. So I think it's going to be fun. But like you guys, I'm as nervous as you are for, will it be okay? Will there be DSC? I have to test it and check it out. Buying TVs is not fun. I mean, it's a great journey in picking things out, but the realization of hoping it's all right is always hard.
And before we head out, for sure, Nigel has a great question. I'll answer, and then we'll get to Getty's super chat on the way out. Hey, Nigel, do you think we will see any significant new tech or improvements to 2024 TVs? So, improvements, yes. New tech. MLA on the C4, will that be considered new tech? But more MLA across more sizes is the improvement I see. QD OLED, I don't see it going to 83 inches, unfortunately. So it'll still be QD OLED up to 77 inch. As far as improvements, Sony, I think, is going to spread XR clear across more of its lineup. MLA on Sony OLED TV, so the A80L this year. Next year's successor will be the A80 with MLA. That could end up being another sleeper, right, Brian? But as far as big jumps, 110-inch TVs, we've never seen that before. I think those are coming. More 100-inch TVs at more price points, but I'm not hearing anything amazing like a QD OLED or MLA. Brian, predictions, anticipations. What is exciting you for 2024?
Same, I think seeing HiSense and TCL move more into that top tier now is you'll see, I think, that further with volume and them with more specs. Again, I see TCL really pushing the specs next year. That's what's hard about recommending a UX from a HiSense that's a limited run. I know they're going to go with a brighter TV next year. So I expect them to have good jumps, FOMO, spec-wise, from HiSense and TCL. But that's still, in my opinion, old technology, mini LED in a way. So expect that to jump. As far as QD OLED, I think you're looking at refinement. You may see LG try to push the brightness FOMO just to sell MLA a different way. But I think you're going to see kind of a boring year next year in terms of any leaps, other than the blue phosphorus OLEDs that we'll be looking at, or micro LED. I think we're kind of at the big jump was QD OLED and MLA, and I think we're going to see that refined one more time. So I think it's a safe time. That's why I thought the A95L was such a guaranteed buy, because I think they're just showing you what Sony's doing next year. Mm-hmm. So you'll see the updated UI on all their TVs next year.
And
but I don't really see anybody jump much.
And if you have to go, I don't want to hold you. We have 2 more super chats. If you can hang on.
Go ahead. Yep,
all right, real quick. Thank you, D. Looking to upgrade from a 65-inch C8 aside from the
Mhm.
burn-in, I'm satisfied with the TV. I love that. Aside from it not turning on, but I'm satisfied with the TV. Will the 77-inch B3 for value be an upgrade or splurge for the S90C or C3? So the 77-inch B3 will be an upgrade because it won't have burn-in and it will be more resistant to burn-in, but the brightness will be very similar. There hasn't been a big jump in brightness. The S90C is the splurge that gets you the brightness you want. Actually, the C8 and C9s are actually relatively bright enough. That's why they got burn-in. They didn't control it as well. So I'd say go with the S90C. Don't get the C3. I'd rather you get the B3 to save money or the S90C. But definitely, I'd splurge. I'd wait for the deal to drop further on Best Buy or go on Samsung's website now if you're a AAA member and get it for $19.99 or even less. And
Yeah.
super chat. Thank you, Josh.
Well, quick. Go
Switching
back
gears.
to him real quick.
Yo, 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 yo. Going back. D.
And then I think in the chat we have a Brian Cobalt who had a super chat that we might have missed. But
Oh, okay.
D, here's the reason why I think FOMO's spot on with the C8. The C8 was a very saturated. Same with the C9. They had a very cartoony look to them, which led, which LG doesn't really have anymore. They don't have that same look. So if you like the C8, I think then a QD OLED, the S90C would be something I'd recommend because the C3 is more accurate than those TVs used to be. The C8 was amazing. I love that cartoony. But remember FOMO, they were more like Samsung OLEDs back then. Then the
Yeah.
CX kind of became more natural, and then the C1 got brighter. But I would say for you, if you like those, then I would go the other way with it. So sorry about that. Go ahead. And, yeah,
No.
Brian, I saw him.
And thank you for catching Brian. Sorry, Brian. Finally got back to
Oh,
you.
sorry, Brian.
I missed it. For almost the same price, would you recommend the A75L or the S90C? So the S90C will be slightly brighter, slightly punchier, but the A75L will give you better upscaling and processing of streaming content. So when I say brighter, you're only going to benefit watching sports, really, like bright sports. But if you're watching Netflix and all those things, it'll be very similar in brightness as the A75L. But the S90C will have better gaming, more vibrant. It's just, I really like gaming on the S90C. Whether it's 55, 65, or 77, it is the most vibrant, most saturated. The color pops. It gives you lots of options for different image profiles when you want to play. So S90C if you have any kind of next-gen console for sure. But the A75L for everyone else is just streaming, watching news, sports, and TV shows. So hopefully that answers your question. Now,
FOMO, now more than ever, real quick with Brian's comment.
yes,
We used to do this. We used to almost cop out. If you want a game, go with this one. If you want to watch movies,
yes,
go with this one. It's funny how we're kind of back to that because the S90C is such a good gaming TV. You can watch movies on it, obviously. Same the A80L, you can game on that too. But the S90C, the gaming features plus the different presets, it really is that simple, Bri. If you want to go gaming TV, S90. If you want to do more streaming, A80L. It's really that simple. It's amazing how we're going back to that, though, isn't it?
it is because and I love what the TV makers are doing. They're like, look, we're
Yeah.
going to do this
Follow
really
it.
well, really well.
Yeah.
And if this
Yeah.
is your use case, we are unmatched in that. And that's how you
Absolutely.
should do it. I like if you are the master or the jack of all trades, master of none. What ends up happening is there are too many compromises. Everyone's unhappy.
Absolutely.
This way, your fanboys or gamers or streamers or whatever. I mean, even the A95L is so expensive, but ultimately, it falls short of Dolby Vision. So it's not even for Dolby Vision fans right now, right? So yeah, I love it. Josh asks, switching gears from TVs, would you recommend a soundbar under $1,500? Which one would you recommend? Okay. A7000, Q990C, Nakamichi, or Sonos. For sure, the Q990C, when it's on promotion at $900, $800, get the Q990C. But at over $1,000, I get the Nakamichi for, I think they hit their Shock Wave right now at Best Buy is under $700 or around $800. That one comes with surround satellites, that Nakamichi, way to go. Sonos is great if you're in the ecosystem. You're listening to music, you have speakers all over the house, you're in the Sonos ecosystem. For music, Sonos is great. But if we're talking home theater immersion, I'd go first, if you get the deal, the flagship Q990C, but under $1,000, Nakamichi. The Sony A7000 isn't better than any of them. At best, it matches the best from Samsung, but it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Everything's in bits and pieces. A7000, then you gotta get the SW5 subwoofer, and then you have to buy satellites separately, which is what I had to do, right? And it ended up being like $2,500. It's insane. Q990C,
Yeah.
all in one package. Nakamichi, all in one package. Sonos, also very expensive. Soundbar. subwoofer, 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then surrounds. So I don't like the way Sonos did that either. Hopefully that
Yeah.
answers your question. I think we are good. Okay, my
I
friends.
like what you said about Sonos though, because I think Sonos is such a popular option. But same thing you said, ecosystem, because I know Sonos really struggles, FOMO, with that dynamic, with the vocals sometimes, the dialogue, because it doesn't have the same home theater feel. But to your point, if you're going to buy them and go all into the entire thing, it definitely works out well.
And I just got the S90C. He just got the S90C. I'm not sure if it's a bad panel, but have you noticed the screen randomly going black and then coming back on? That's a dropout. I set up a return with Samsung to replace, but not sure if I should go get the A80L instead. Why don't you try the swap and return with Samsung? See, because what you're getting is not normal. I've never had that, and if it's during gaming, for sure, it's probably a dropout issue. But you might have a bad panel. I mean, our S90C didn't even work. Remember, we're at M-Wave, and it just stopped working altogether. I mean, it happens, right? It doesn't mean A80L, it won't happen. So
Yeah,
give Samsung another chance, and if it
I
happens,
would.
go
Yeah.
get the Sony A80L and call it a day.
Well, and
But
then
yeah, that's not
and
normal.
Josh, that way, I would say even for curiosity, FOMO, if you like TVs, I'd much rather have you actually see what you like from the S90C first, and then if you don't love it and it doesn't work, then make your switch. I hate to see you
Yeah.
make the switch and then say, God, I really wish, because QD
Mm-hmm.
OLED really is the next gen. I hate to see you chase one without giving the other one a full chance. I would love you see you get a full amount of time with the QD OLED versus going right back to OLED.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the
It's
Sony
hard.
A80L is a solid all-around TV. It's a safe bet. The S90C, if you don't game, you're missing out on what makes the S90C special too. The A80L takes that money and puts it into its XR
Something
clear and
else.
audio. So that's just
And
something
there,
you
and
gotta think
again,
about.
and even the HDMI 2.1 thing, if that's important, these are things you don't think of until you buy it. Then you're like, ah. So
Yeah. Oh, I think this is a very tight stream, Brian. Thank you so much for coming on. And
my
you know
pleasure.
what? This is bothering me. There's too much. There's too much. Here. There we go. Okay.
You're adjusting it
That,
now at the end.
the yellow light. Now I'm adjusting.
You're like,
This
bye.
amber light's killing me. I'm falling asleep. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, thank you for coming on,
yeah,
Brian.
guys.
Can't wait to see
My
your new
pleasure.
TV, whichever
Yeah.
one this
Oh,
ends up being.
well,
And my
I'll say
friends,
so. Well, we have what 330 something in the chat. I want to say to you guys from me and from my partner in crime, and we've done a lot of collaborations this year, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content. FOMO and I definitely enjoy us teaming up on a lot of our shared projects. But on a Saturday night, even I think we did. Was it last Saturday, FOMO, that we streamed, or was it the Saturday? But it was last Saturday.
it was last weekend. Yeah, yeah. Or
Last
last
Saturday to
Friday.
have
Yeah.
to get this many people hanging out. I'm really very grateful as his friendship, but also for you guys. We're just getting started, by the way, as far as us teaming up in our collaborations and just having you guys show up for. I feel bad ending the stream, but you guys are awesome, and really, really appreciate both you, FOMO, and you guys in the chat. Really love you guys. Very happy that you guys have. I hope you've enjoyed our collaborations. Next year, look for next week. Actually, you guys voted. LG will be up next in the report card process. FOMO will help me do that one. We'll do the
Oh
TV
yeah.
reveal, and then we'll do the reveal on FOMO's channel as well. So we have this is our dead period, and we have nothing but more content coming. So we're very
I
grateful
know
that you guys
the
are here.
dead period for reviews, but we're here to help you guys. Now that all the TVs are out, and Panasonic just released last week, by the way. So I'm glad we're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
in Europe. We're like, oh, we're gonna review
absolutely.
one more TV.
Absolutely. Well, they're just
But
thinking in the future,
yes,
him and I are going to go to England and just review one. We'll just go. We'll do that.
fly
That'll be
over
what we'll
there.
do. We'll do like an M wave in England, so Panasonic can be part of it.
Yep.
So, but love you guys. Have a great night. Thank you so much. Check out my channel, please. Like and subscribe. And have a great weekend.
Yes, your channel is Brian's Tech Therapy and
Yep.
Relationship Advice, or is it just Tech Therapy?
Well, yeah. Well, I do that too, baby. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll do it. Clearly, get yourself an apartment. It's
Only
great
if
for
you
your
show
marriage.
up in person. Only if you show up in person, right? All right, my friends. Until
All right,
next
guys.
time, stop the FOMO.
Take care.